Hey guys, this is Diamond Yard Sports Cards. George here. Welcome to the Misfits channel. We're on Wednesday night, Hump Day again. I've got two of my fellow Misfits, Mr. James, lead hunters,
How you doing?
and John Mangini after Election Day.
Hey guys,
And
and we have a special guest who's supposed to join.
absolutely, we have a special guest and somebody you guys know and love, and who is full of charisma and humor, and you're going to love it. And then we're going to talk about some different topics. I have some, John brought up some, James brought up some, and I have a BGS reveal later on too, because I never submitted anything to BGS and just got it back today. So James, take it away, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. We had a week off due to the World Series, so we didn't go on last Wednesday. And I guess to put a bow ribbon on something we haven't had a chance to speak about, how'd you feel about the World Series?
I mean, I thought it was great. It would have been even more epic if it could have gone, 6, 7 games, especially 7. But and of course, Ohtani got hurt, so we didn't really get to see him at his full potential. Aaron Judge struggled, so I was, really looking forward to the Ohtani Judge matchup. Judge struggled, Ohtani got injured. Still, they gave us a few moments, but Freddie Freeman stole the show, man.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
overall, a good World Series, unless of course you're a Yankees fan.
George, how'd you feel about it?
I felt like I got ripped off. I
Why?
feel like I bought a card and then I got it home. I got it to the house. It came in the mail and I looked at it and man, I'm like, it just doesn't look as nice in person. And the reason I'm saying this is because, I really wanted this to go 7 games badly. I wanted at least 6 games. And
Yeah.
I think it was pretty, I think the Yankees didn't do anything. Sorry, James and Lou. And I'm being honest, they didn't do anything to help themselves. And Aaron Boone just did not put his team in a position to succeed. We talked about it before the series, and I was talking about Garrett Cole and how he was the most important pitcher in the series. And in the first game, he pulled him after 83 pitches. You don't pull your horse because he's got one guy on or 2 guys on, and he had a lead 2-1 at that point in critical game 1 on the road, and he pulled him.
He was cruising.
Yeah, he was struggling a little bit at that point, but it's like you got to let him work his way through it. So he pulls him at 83 pitches, Boone does. And then in what was it, game 4, or was game 5? Then he lets him go way too long, and it just didn't make sense. And I guess at the end of the day, I felt like the Dodgers just had better baseball players.
I'll tell you what, though, in game 5, he was pitching well, and then they had those errors. It was like all self-inflicted, and I probably affected him mentally.
You could see him.
But they should have been out of that inning, and it might have been a different game.
But I would have pulled him because I think he just let him go in the first game. But this, you could see he was just frustrated. By that time, he was already frustrated from that game 1 start that he got pulled in, and they were down, and there was just so much pressure, and he was getting pissed at his teammates. And this is the microcosm. Last thing I would say, the microcosm of the World Series about why the Dodgers won is in that inning, the meltdown inning. Was it a bunt or a dribbler? A bunt, a dribbler to Rizzo at first. Rizzo gets it, and I know he's older, and so is Cole, but you should go and hustle to the ball and hustle to the bag. The pitcher, Cole, as soon as it's hit, he starts going to first, then he stops being lazy. And it's like the only person on that play that did what they should have done is Mookie Betts, who's busting his ass down the line, and he's safe. And it's like that was a microcosm of of a team that was more fundamentally sound, better all-around baseball players, and just hustling. Ohtani got hurt because he's hustling. It's like didn't see the fire. Unfortunately, sorry, James, I just didn't see the fire.
Nah, listen, you're not saying, you're preaching to the choir. The only takeaway I had from the World Series is I do not want to see Aaron Boone as the manager of this team ever again. I got so fed up with him. It was always called to question whether he knew how to handle the bullpen, and he leans on analytics a little too much rather than just feeling the game out. And it showed during the World Series, he was pulling people out like he had 20 people in the bullpen. And it was an endless reservoir of relievers. Then it's the 9th or 10th inning, and he has to rely on someone who's hurt. Like, are you kidding me?
You know what though? Isn't that the modern game? I mean, they pulled Blake Snell in that World Series, and then they ended up losing the game when he was in the zone. Nobody could touch him.
Yeah. And my thing, like to what George was saying is, yeah, he pulled Garrett Cole out. That was problem number one in the first game. The second problem was after he got Shohei out with man on first and second, he decided to walk the bases loaded to work around Betts to pitch to Freeman for the lefty on lefty matchup when there's no advantage to facing Freeman. This guy doesn't have a weakness.
No, that's a little overrated too, in my opinion. That lefty on lefty. I remember in the '79 Pirates, that championship team. If you go back, I like to rewatch old World Series and so forth. If you go back, they talk about over and over again how Dave Parker and Willie Stargell hit lefties better than righties. So that doesn't always matter. If a player's fantastic, why would you load the bases to get to him?
Right. And then the thing is, a wild pitch ties the game now. Like, why are you going to load up the bases where Nestor Cortez could like throw a wild pitch? He has a bum arm. Like, a wild pitch, that's it. Like, with Betts hitting a single, okay, tie game. But now, bases loaded, you could lose the game with a base hit. I mean, it didn't end up that way. Freeman hit a grand slam. Good for him. Good for the Dodgers. But to me, you had to steal one at LA, no matter what, because they have 4 games over there. And that first game was on a silver platter for the Yankees to take, and Aaron Boone squandered it. For that reason, I say, get him the hell out of there. I don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah, Moneyball kind of ruined the game. Too many analytics, man.
I'm going to sound like a codger or two here. The analytic is, in these situations, is the dude hot or not? I don't give a shit if he's going against.
That's exactly right. You can't analyze if somebody's in the zone.
He's freaking hot, man. You don't. I mean, did they ever say, "Well, boy, we're gonna bring in a lefty to face Barry Bonds"? No, because he's hot all the time. Like, if the guys, and guys are cold. Judge was cold. You just know you can just throw him breaking pitch after breaking pitch after breaking pitch, and he is not going to adjust and hit it to right field. He doesn't. I can't believe that. He's like just trying to pull everything and hit like a 7-run home run instead of just doing what Freeman does, hitting doubles. I mean, Freeman has 500 doubles in his career. He's gonna have more doubles than George Brett when this thing's over. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it was hard to watch Judge. His timing was so off. He was chasing those curves. Just didn't look comfortable up there. Wasn't really close to anything. When he did hit the ball, it wasn't, solid.
Right. Well, we finally got our guest in. Mike Petty has just joined us. Let me bring him up and see what he has to say about the World Series. Mikey.
Hey, boys, you guys there?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Turn your camera on.
I'm trying to get that stupid focus thing off. Hold on a second here. Just signing in. Video effects. Oh, fuck. Oh, pardon me. Focus. All right. Well, I'm just going to see what happens here. I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Oh, my. Here he is. The locks.
Am I doing
Legend.
Okay. How are you, Flapjack?
How you doing, Mike? We would have had John on the wig if you would have stayed on black.
Yeah. I mean, I wore my best wig tonight, as you can tell.
Awesome.
I love that. You can tell I trimmed a few inches off the back because that wig was just killing me. A little bit tight up here on the forehead. So what's up? You guys talking about my Dodgers, huh?
Yeah, man.
What was your feelings on the winning end?
Well, it was tough to watch. I got to tell you. I mean, I appreciated the way they played. Actually, the thing you guys were just talking about, I caught was wasn't it about Cole coming out of the game, out of
the first game,
right? I read somewhere, believe it or not, that Boone was kind of taking the rap for that he begged out somehow. That's also unlike him too, because he's a stud, as you guys know. That he asked him how he was doing when he went out there, and he said he was gassed. So he took it with 83 pitches when he was in command. Like you said, I mean, the guy, and then the second game, he just that was the time to take him out.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? It's a game of second guesses and whatnot.
Yep. That's so true. We could second guess all day long.
It really sucked, man, to have Ohtani get hurt like that. But I'm surprised it didn't happen during the year. I mean, they're letting the guy play against Colorado in a meaningless game, and he's stealing 3 bases and hitting 10 RBIs and 4 homers so he can get a Tops Now card. And for what reason? And Freddie Freeman turns his ankle in the last game on a stupid play. It's like, these are the things that the fact that they won was quite remarkable. I guess the Yankees just, obviously they had defense issues all year, and the Dodgers pitching it studded out. I mean, it's hard to believe, but Buehler was a number 1 starter for quite a long time, even though he got roped all year, and they just played it perfectly. The musical pitching chairs with the low leverage situation and the high, you're down 5 runs, you bring in your low leverage guys, you basically just give the game up. That's the new style.
Yeah.
That's the, they got it done. It's quite amazing.
So Ohtani, was his injury a separated shoulder?
Yeah, he was operated on it today, actually.
Oh, they operated on it.
Yeah, he should be ready for spring training, they said. But that's going to zap his power.
Man, it's rare that they'll operate on a separated shoulder. It must have been bad.
I guess.
I had a separated shoulder. I just wanted to say, props to him.
Sure, when you get my age, your shoulders are
I don't know how he
separated.
played
I can't
with
even
it.
sleep. I mean, I could throw a fastball.
Yeah, they probably.
I could continue to work out, and there are certain positions where putting weight on it actually felt better, and I could continue to work out, but I couldn't bend my arm behind my back like normal, and it would, you'd feel it, but I can't really imagine swinging a heavy bat.
Well, he couldn't imagine it either.
That had to hurt.
He couldn't imagine it either. But it's just so funny how the two, like you said, whenever you expect the 2 superstars, to come up, and it's going to be a great series and all, and they both play like shit, basically.
But you got to give them credit for playing at all.
I actually do. I mean, the fact that he got in there, I mean, that's a team player. During the year, one of my pet peeves about the game today is, that these guys are pussies, as you know. But I will say that looking at the stats this year, there was more players that had 150 games played. There must be a list of like 30 players. That's unprecedented. Normally, the way it's been going, it's been 120 games, and then you're fucking out.
I would like to know if they're starting to put more incentives in contracts to play like a certain amount of games, and that might be a motivator.
Maybe. I mean, because you don't let them play hurt. They have any kind of an issue, they're sitting for a week. And
and we've had the discussion how, in the old days, you'd see guys in football on the IR all the time, but never this many players every year, in and year out.
I mean, those
in
football
baseball
players, they'll play with broken arms, and those guys are hurt every game.
Well,
I never remember these kinds of injuries so common.
You can average 150 games unless you play for the Pirates and you're about to meet a bonus and they cut you the game.
Well, isn't that the truth? Yeah. I mean, that's any team does that, though.
I think the injuries in football or baseball is just that, these guys are training more. They're bigger than they've ever been. Their ligaments are still the same, though. Like, you really can't work your ligaments out, your tendons, but their muscles are bigger, they're bigger, and they're training all the time, and they have more weight on their bodies. And they tend to get these soft tissue injuries more and more because they're just so much more explosive, and I think that's a big reason.
Well, like Ohtani, I mean, that guy's a monster. I mean, he must be 300 pounds, 6'5", 300 or something. I mean, it's just that stealing bases are so easy. I mean, as fast as George is, George could steal second with the new rules if you let him. I mean,
I don't know about that one.
I got a bad hip, man.
Huh?
I got a
You're
bad
just-
hip.
You got a bad. Everybody's injured at our age.
Yeah, I know. I'm going under the knife in December. I'm getting a hip replacement.
Are you
What?
really? A
Yeah,
young man like you?
I'm 52, man.
A hip
52?
replacement?
Shit.
Yeah,
When I was your age, I was
those are
running
so much
marathons.
more common these days. I know
Yeah.
so many people that have had them.
Yeah.
So you're going to be Bo Jackson in the softball field.
Hopefully I'll be.
Did you hurt
Perfect.
yourself, or did it just over time it happened and you?
I played a lot of ball, and then I played third base a lot, and I tore my labrum in my left hip, which hopefully Ohtani was going to say, you have labrums in your shoulder and your hip joints, ball socket joints. And I tore my labrum, and they fixed it, and they said, you had a lot of arthritis. We'll see how long this lasts. And it lasted 10 years. But so now it's time to do something else. But
Well, with this new
It'll
hip,
be
you'll
fine.
be running circles around these kids with the new hip after a while. We got your age in your 50s,
yeah,
You must
sure.
have been one of the tallest third basemen to ever play.
well, 6'4" ish.
God,
to be
you're that
taller.
tall? I know.
You
I used to-
look taller than 6'4".
I used to be 6 foot too, but now I'm just 5'8" extra fat.
Oh, 6'3" with the afro.
Well, the older you get, the gravity pulls you down.
You do shrink.
You shrink.
One of my
Yeah.
buddies, it was he's like 6'6". I'm almost as tall as he is now. He's bent over like a question mark at my age.
I keep growing sideways. That's my problem.
Oh no shit! I mean, I ate a carrot stick, one carrot stick all last week, every day. I gained 3 pounds. Oh,
Hey,
candy.
back to the injury thing. The modern guys that are injured. Did you guys ever see Ocho Cinco's interview with Shannon Sharp?
No.
It was
I'm
classic.
sure. I think I heard about it. Go ahead and tell me.
Well, first of all, there's so much. Everybody should watch it because he talks about how frugal he is, and and Shannon's like, well, you had all kind of bling on you on the sideline, and he said I bought those at Claire's. He's like I don't pay for gold.
Oh,
He's like, that's a
shit.
waste of money. So
That's funny.
he was asking Shannon Sharp. They were talking nutrition, and he was asking Shannon Sharp. He said, how many times was I injured in my career? And Shannon's like, I don't really remember. And he's like, never. I was never injured. He's like, you know why? Because I ate like an athlete. I ate McDonald's and all kind of food. He's like, you can't eat chicken and broccoli and stay healthy. That's why these guys are all hurt all the time. That was his philosophy.
That's crazy.
Well, isn't it doesn't help.
Those guys are just in great shape, even today.
It's amazing that he was healthy his whole career. I mean, that doesn't happen to running backs, wide receivers, or and any maybe quarterbacks. That's about it.
I mean, even these old athletes, like the guys I know, I mean, they're just still in just amazing shape. It's just somewhere in their genes, or plus they work out still, and they've got that in them. But
quite honestly, these guys might work out too much, in addition to playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because working out, you need recovery. It takes its toll on your body. There's a famous bodybuilder, Mike Metzger. Mike Metzer. He was Mr. Olympia, and he worked out once a week intensely. He said the body is meant to be worked just enough. Like you shouldn't work it at all because it's so hard on your body. So you stimulate it just enough. He would do one set workout, every body part once a week, and then he would rest for a week, and then he'd do it again. And he won. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys know, like with the steroid guys, their joints start to break down. Like Bonds had these knee problems, and he was out for like a third of the season. Then he was out the whole season. It's like you just get so big, your body is not. You're working out all the time, right? Twice a day. Your joints are not built for this.
I thought that's the reason that they were taking it, though. Like guys like McGuire, how he was always injury prone.
Well, I think it was strength. Yeah, I think it was strength and recovery. I think recovery might have been the biggest advantage of it.
Right.
Because I don't know if you see guys, on the bodybuilding circuit or whatever that take those things, they're working out constantly. They don't have to recover like a normal human being.
Right. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the possibility of us being here with the hobby president, John Mangiarini.
Oh God.
The hobby president.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It means that you're going to go on tour and
Is somebody
gonna
is somebody
save
going
the
to
hobby.
promote me?
We're
You're
all
gonna
counting
save the
on you.
hobby.
We're
I don't
expecting
know.
big things.
All right, I'm gonna have to start making some plans.
Basically,
Start
what you have
setting
to
up
do is
some
you got to
meetings.
get out there like Yosemite Sam. You're going to say, "Vote for Honest Sam." Get out there and say, "Babies! I love babies. Show me the babies. Where's the babies?"
The first thing we need to do is we need to clean some stuff up. You know,
Yeah.
I guys, right before I got on here, and I don't know if you were on the text I sent, but do you remember? It was only a couple weeks ago that Probstein had got, they were selling a fake card on eBay,
Mhm.
and they got, caught doing that,
Right.
and everybody was making videos on YouTube about it. I'm on there today just looking around, and I stumbled on a 1933 buttercream Babe Ruth. And I'm looking to see who this scammer is, and it was Probstein. And they had, everybody was giving him a pass, saying, "Oh, well, he has, just underlings listing these things, and they don't know cards."
Just slipped
Well, then what the hell are
True.
you selling cards for if you don't know them?
Well, they,
So
they probably
it's
they
a
usually
33
take 'em- they usually
buttercream.
take them down. I mean,
And
try
when you
doing
look at
that
the back-
with GM cards. Try to do that. I know I see Mike out here, a baseball collector, and he's had good luck with Greg Morris. They're local here in Los Angeles. I used to buy my raw cards from them all the time. You reach out to them for any reason, and they are nice to you. They'll give you a call back. I forget the guy's name. I have him on. He said, "Oh, I recognize the name. I know your family has farms out here." I go, "Yeah." I go, "I don't mean to be, complaining or anything, but I wanted to let you know." And he says, "Oh, no problem." I go, and I said, "I don't want to get cut off from bidding or anything." He goes, "We're not going to cut you off." And get off the phone with them, send my card back that was trimmed, that it didn't pass the authentication program. Next thing you know, I'm blocked. I mean, that's the way they do it. And you think that I'm going to reach out to them? It's like, fuck you. Why are you doing that? They do it all the time, even on Facebook. You see people are saying, I told them that this card might be trimmed. They looked at it, they took it down. It was like a Cracker Jack, and then they blocked him. You try to make any comment about Greg Morris or something, and everybody's going to stick up for him. And
You
whatever.
got Greg Morris blocked you.
yeah. Come on, I get blocked by most people. Most people.
Well,
don't get
this,
blocked.
you know how it had, how the fakes they dip them in tea and try to age them, and they have those squiggly lines
Yeah.
on the back. I mean, this thing is as blatant as anything.
Well, their
It-
grading
it's
has gone
so
down
absurd.
since he stopped the grading. It's definitely gone down a little bit.
Oh, he stopped grading.
I think a couple of years ago he stopped himself.
Probstein.
No, I'm talking about Morris.
No, I'm talking about Probstein.
Well, fuck, about
No, that's
Proby.
where the card's listed right now. You can go on
Yeah,
eBay, 1933
just-
buttercream Babe Ruth,
He just doesn't care. That's just the way.
or you could go on my you could go on my YouTube.
That's
I
funny,
posted
Mike.
it. What'd he
I
say?
don't blame you. He goes, he blocked me from commenting on his videos. I don't blame you.
Are you a troll, Mike? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, yes, I'm a troll. I fucking got blocked on Susie Sunshine's channel. No, that's not true, but that's
No.
funny.
Mangini told us that you had some awesome pickups, Mike. Do you care to share?
have
I have a
those
couple.
around?
I have a couple. Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of a busy little beaver at that.
All right,
little-
I just have to prepare everybody. You're going to see some cards you can only dream of touching.
Oh God! Let's see what I
Only
got.
dream of touching them.
Well, let's see. Here's one I picked up at the Love of the Game auction. I think I've gotten a little better at showing these.
Mm.
No, I didn't.
You got worse.
I got worse. Can you see that?
That's a beauty.
American
Yeah, that's a
Caramel?
beauty. It's an American caramel, my favorite. They call it a 1922 American Caramel E121. Holding balls. He's holding his balls.
You couldn't afford the 1927 one?
No, I can't afford that. I only get the cheap ones actually.
I'll give you a hug, Mike.
Thank you.
Show
And
some of that fire.
Here's another one. Now this is a 1,
Oh.
if you can believe it. It's the same pose from the same set, only it has that ornate border, which I love. This is like, I think it's, why does it have the ornate border, John? Do you know? Is it
Well, I
because
love
it's a
those. So
series
there's
of-
three different ones that I'm aware of. There's
Okay.
a strip cutout version, and there's a Nielsen's chocolate version, and there's
Right,
the
I have that
American
too.
caramel version.
Uh-huh.
So you couldn't afford the Nielsen's?
I have the Nielsen's.
Do you really? You have both?
I have both, yeah.
Do you
This
have
one
the
I
cutout?
think
Do you
is-
have the hand cut one?
No, I don't. I just got this because it was a 1 and it was going cheap. There was another one that was like a 3, but it was all dark and ugly looking. And I go, fuck, I'm gonna pick that one up. And I got it at the where did
That's
I-
one.
I don't remember.
I'll be
Anyway.
honest. That's one of my dream cards from.
And
when
it's
I was
in
a-
really good shape. You really
from when I
can't
was a
tell.
little kid.
Yeah.
That's one of my dream cards.
Me too. Me too.
I love that ornate border. That's just that. I don't know. I saw that card as a kid in a magazine, and it just stuck with me all these years. I should have picked one up at some point.
Me too. I mean, I should have been picking these up years ago. Here's another beauty. I showed this the other day. I think I picked this one up. This is my favorite ice cream card. This is a Lou Gehrig. I think this is this a yin yang? Can you
Yingling.
tell?
Yingling.
Well, what's
like-
it say?
Like the beer.
What's it say on it?
It says yin yang.
No,
Oh.
Yingling.
I can't read it, so I'm asking.
Young.
Because so the ice cream cards, and then the W502 looks just like it too.
Yeah.
Well, you got Harrington's, Yingling, and
Look at all the. If you can tell, the thing I love about it.
Well, there's Tharps, and then there's the rarest one, which is Sweetman. Is it Sweetman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rarest one.
Well, that Babe Ruth Sweetman went for. It was supposed to go for like 20 grand. It went for 50 in that last Heritage auction. So this one has. I liked it. It's funny because the guy had a 5. It was a PSA 5. It was really nice. He was asking like 10 grand or something. I go, man, I'm not paying 10 grand for that. And then they had this one too. And I wake up the next morning and the 5 is gone. So I go, you know what? I lost out on those last auctions. I'm going to buy this. And so it had ice. I counted. It's got the ice cream on his nose. You can't really see, but I mean, literally ice cream nose. And here's one. I don't think I showed this to you guys.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait. There's a lot more.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
Here's one
He
that I
hasn't scratched the surface from what I saw.
Here's one that's fresh to the hobby. You know how I'm a sucker for the fresh to the hobby thing when it's newly discovered. Yet, you see these in PSA 7s and 9s and
Oh,
they go
no.
for 300-400.
Oh
1,000,
my
but
God!
I picked this up. It was a
Are you
2.
kidding?
Well, I wasn't going to be denied anymore. So you guys know for 18 months I've been into these auction houses. For the first 8 or 10 months, I didn't win shit. I was trying to, bid on the comps and do all this shit. I hate this stupid camera. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. And so once I got beat out on a couple of things, I just stopped looking at comps and said, F it. If you want to win, you got to bid.
Yeah, Mike. I
This
mean,
is a
what
really
what
nice
difference
one,
do
man.
comps make if you're in an auction and you're getting beat all the time?
You don't want, if you're getting beat all the time, you're trying, or like I think it was a realization when Greg did that show. I mean, I was really embarrassed to show all that shit that I bought in one year. I mean, it was insane. But one thing I realized is that I was getting beat out a lot, and I was like settling in those. Whether I should have just went for the cards I wanted, like the most, and then left the others be. But I found myself, picking up like the second and third stringers that were okay. I mean, they're nice. Don't get me wrong. They're part of my collection. But these cards were getting away from me. The nicely centered, the, sharp, nice for a 2, and things like that were getting away from me. And
Like when you're, like we all know this, but like those cards that are authentic 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, there's such a huge market for those, and they look nice,
Yeah.
right? You got cards there that like that Ruth in a 1 looks like a 3-ish.
it does, yeah. I mean,
And,
there's no
there's a lot of
creases or anything
people-
on it.
Yeah, they can't afford. They're not willing to spend or whatever. They don't want to buy that card.
I mean, I can't afford it. I'm not spending,
Well, the thing
20
is
to
I think they're
30,000
easy to
on it.
move if they're lower grade with nice eye appeal.
Right.
Because if they're too high, I don't know. You might have to wait. I mean, maybe you
Or
send
you-
it to an auction house. You get a
You
bunch
put
of
them in
people
the
bidding.
auction. You put them in the auction houses.
But
Those
the
things
lower
have
ones
crazy
are
money.
pretty easy to move, I think.
And another thing that I did when I started buying lower grade cards during the pre-war trimming scandal, like about 7 years ago, they
Mhm.
I was buying 8s of Willie Mays's and like 50s cards, 60s cards, and Hank Aaron's. And
Mhm.
then this pre-war trimming scandal came out, and I said, well, you know what? Why don't I buy a 50 Bowman Jackie in a 2? Why don't I buy a rookie Mays in a 1 or a 2? And going back to like Bruce kind of stuff too, or
Yeah.
Cobb stuff, because who's trimming a 1 or a
Well,
1
the
spot?
thing is you are bidding. If they're nice cards, you're bidding against the trimmers. Those are the guys that are going to run that up 10 or
Maybe.
20%. And like I'm telling other guys, too. So like there's a point of no return with like these cards at the auction house. So what I'm finding is the dealers are bidding on these. So there's a point where you have to outbid the dealer, where they need margins and they're going to stop at a certain point, even though they have resale numbers and everything, and I don't. So I'm at a 10% disadvantage anyway. But unless you get into it at night with another collector, you're gonna win that card from a dealer if you're prepared to pay a little bit, an extra bid for it. And I just despise these auction houses. So Love of the Game. I love Al. He's like one of the best guys in the business. You have a direct contact to him and all that. But the way that they do that auction, where one closes, they all close at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. It's just effing stupid. I mean, why would you put people through that all night long? And somebody can come in at 2 a.m. after your last bid the last bid on the card is 10 o'clock. So 4 hours you go with no bids, and then somebody comes in and overbids you. You wake up, because who's staying up that late? It's stupid. And I to be honest with you, so I'm weeding all the auction houses that are doing that. I'm not buying from them anymore. I really think that I'm just going to Heritage, RE and REA, and I really scored big on the golden auction. I haven't showed you that yet. But before I do, let's show this one, because I know my friend Mangianini loves this one. He saw this. I saw you looking at this card at the show, one of the shows you were at. I think the one with Sammy.
The Eastern National.
Yeah, with Sammy, right? When Sammy
Rogers
was following
Pete.
you. Yeah, this was in Ash's case. It was in an old holder, and the card was slipping down out of the holder and everything. It looked like shit. He was asked. He had it for a year.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at it at his table. It was another dealer.
Was it?
Well,
I thought it was his table.
That's the Ty Cobb? I was looking at the Trish speaker.
No, you look at this at his table. I saw you pick it up, and I said, "Shit, I hope he doesn't buy it."
No, the Ty Cobb.
Yeah, the Cobb.
No. It was the Trish speaker. I thought it was a Ty Cobb. That's why I grabbed it.
I thought
because it's a similar pose.
You looked at that Clementi. You were looking at that Clementi hot dog wiener, whatever the hell it was called. The wiener card. Cons, yep. The Cons wiener. But anyway, this card is sweet, and you don't see it very much. I bid on the Babe Ruth at one of the auctions. It had a $6,000, estimate. Went for 10 grand before I even blinked. So on cards like that, and it was like a 6, I think, and I just said no. I just can't be spending 10 grand a pop. So
Why does Babe Ruth sell for such a premium over Ty Cobb? I can understand him selling for more, but I mean he might go for 10 times more.
Babe Ruth, man.
But it's Ty Cobb, man.
Ty Cobb's not even the batting
Well,
average.
the thing is in baseball, like baseball fans today, they don't care about average.
True.
It's true. Man, those are some fire cards. Oh my
Dude,
Lord.
he's just getting warmed up.
He's just getting warmed up.
You should see some of the other ones.
It's just the first inning.
Just the first inning.
We got to get him to reboot that.
Yeah, man. He's got some insane stuff.
Wow. If this is just the appetizer, I can't wait for the main course.
His cards are nothing but, the best high-end cards in the hobby.
He has good taste in cards. That's undoubtedly.
Yeah, and he likes the rare ones too. So he's always, we're always sharing what we get because we chase a lot of the same stuff. Although he goes a little bigger. But I'll give a shameless plug for my channel. I have a number of really special big items coming that I'm going to be showing in the coming weeks. And I'm pretty excited. I got some nice stuff coming.
Mike just he just commented my iPad went dead.
Charge it up, man. Hurry up.
Charge it up, plug it in, or get on your phone, do one.
Why does it zoom in and out like that and move up and down?
That's probably a feature he has on his iPad.
I didn't know you could do that on StreamYard though.
No, it looks like maybe that's his a function in his phone where it just follows wherever the movement is going.
Oh, I see. Well, I know if you what is it? Zoom?
Yeah.
That has that feature.
Really?
Like built into Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I didn't know you could do it on your phone though. I thought it was on the platform that did that. What do I know about technology?
You know, on those cards that Mike had, it's like those lower grade, like nice cards, especially with those rare issues. It's like you don't really have much of a choice when a nice one comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that you have that on your list, you've got to make sure that you get that one because, and that's why they go up and up because there's a small amount of them. You know,
dude, you find a 1.5 or a 2 and it looks like a banger. It's beautiful. You got to jump on it because they don't come along too often.
Yeah, Mike, do you know what
great looking 1.5s and 2s?
Sorry about that. It looks like my power or something.
I mean, they're out there, but with some of the rare cards, especially.
Yeah, you got to be like you just got to go after it, Mike. With those cards you're showing, like the two Ruths. What are the population reports on those cards?
Funny you should ask that.
Huh?
Pop.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, are there more of those than the Kaboomies?
You know, I'll tell you what, the Babe Ruth Kaboomy is really nice. I hate my side view there, but let's just take a look at the Popsicle. So the American Caramel, the 2.5 I showed you, the
E121
Pop 2, and there are 9 higher and 44 graded.
Okay, so you only have
that's a lot.
No, it's not. 44 graded of that card total, and then you pretty SGC. Let's say they have 44. Let's say Beckett has another 20. You've got like 100 to 120 copies of that card, and you find a 2.5 that looks like that.
Yeah,
you gotta pay it. You gotta pay full price.
And I did pay full price for it. I mean, because I lost out on that M116.
But if you shop for that card, anybody that shopped for that card, knows that. Man, it's tough to find a nice looking one. Really tough.
They had one like that went for 6,000 like a week before. Like you never see them, but then all of a sudden lately, you start seeing them with Probstein or you see them coming up, and it was authentic altered and it looked really nice. It didn't look trimmed or whatever it was, and it went for I think 6,600 or something.
What about the ones? Do you ever buy his non-authentic altered?
I usually don't, but when you mention that. I do have a non-authentic altered. I have this one. Remember this?
What?
Another Wagner?
Well, I've been on Wagner. I mean, I've been on a run.
I mean, you just usually most people add one Wagner, and they're like, I got my Wagner.
Well,
you need to put that the opposite direction of where you think you need to put it.
Really?
When you show it.
Like
yeah,
that?
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Oh, so I had this one rewrapped. It was in the old holder. And there's a blue one out there too. So this is the only red one, and there's a blue one. And the blue one just sold. So and thanks to the flipper, the plate guy, the misfit.
Rick the Flipper.
Rick the Flipper, the flipping plate guy. Yeah, he's the one that got me into that. So there's that I got. And so I showed that, Pete. I was saying that there wasn't anything. You probably missed this joke because I didn't see George laugh when my computer went dead. But I said, you're in trouble at the Burbank show when you got dealers like George and fucking Levon over there. That they're the best dealers there. You know the damn well they're not cheap. Shit, I mean, Levon. I don't know. I think George. I got my. He beat the hell out of me like. Back in 2017 on a mantle.
Look at all that. Isn't the S?
You're the one who got that mantle.
That was a 52 mantle.
Yeah.
What do you know the story of it or whatever? You've known Levon a long time.
I don't know. Maybe I forgot.
Is that LA collection?
Yeah, LA.
Yeah.
Great. He's a great guy, but he was just
Great
kind of
guy.
starting. He had another job. He wasn't a full-time dealer at the time. I saw him on eBay. He had his business card there, and I said, "Shit, I think this guy's really close." I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, are you interested? Maybe like a cash deal, meeting me?" And he goes, "Sure." So I met him for TGIFs. So we had lunch. I tried offering him. I made him a good offer, and he said, "No, I can't do it." I kept going up like $100 every minute until he finally said yes. Then I had to go to the bank, get the money, and then we had to walk it across the street, to his bank so he could count it out in the machine or whatever. And he was just like sweating bullets. I wonder if this is card stolen. I didn't really, know or what, but I had checked the card out pretty diligently on.
Do you have it
PCP.
there?
I could see it.
Show us.
I don't have it here. I've shown it a million times. It's in my case somewhere.
Well, he did a video. He used to be on YouTube a lot, and then he got off. But he did a video about you can own a 52 mantle too, right? Like he talked all about, and that was the mantle that you purchased, right, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I think he
it was
purchased another one because he purchased a nicer one. No, he didn't. He didn't want that off center ugly one. That's in my. It's in my avatar. That low eye appeal.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah, I showed it. So here's another one that I got at the Golden Auction. So the Golden Auction was really something. They got that guy Joe from Bad Memory Lane.
Yeah.
Look at this. Is this beautiful or what?
Who's that?
It's an A. It's Tyrus Cobb.
Oh, okay.
Ah, shit. Anyway, I'm about ready to throw this.
That set is so rare. All those cards are single digits.
Are they? I'll tell you what it is. It's a pop. It's a pop something.
They're all like single digits. I only have
Pop
3 of them.
Pop one and an A. But so this is the lowest graded, if you can imagine.
Well, I mean total.
Look at it. There's 12 total. And this is
there are?
A.
That's more than most in the set, I think.
Yeah, and a beautiful back.
Every time we talk pops, you give me pop for the grade. I'm talking total card.
Well, I total card. I try to have it all. I try to get
Mike,
it all.
are you talking about just SGC or PSA too?
This one is just PSA, so it's a pop one with how many? 11 higher. So there's 12 total. So they're all higher than this.
Yeah, and whatever the pop is, when you combine PSA and SGC, it's lower than that because all these, and James knows this acutely, the snap and resubmit game that people do, and they don't turn in the flip. So if the pop is 30, it's probably more like 25 or 20, really.
Right.
Now, do they do that with those kinds of cards? Do they crack those and resubmit a lot?
Well,
I wouldn't think as much as modern cards.
Because it's been trimmed. So, like, if you try to take it out of here, they're going to put evidence of trimming on it.
I'll tell you what. This is one of the things I hate about the hobby. Yeah. Who would trim that card? Like, who does that? It makes me want to vomit. Makes me want to vomit.
They try to trim it.
Think about this. Okay, that card is super rare and it's in an authentic. Mm-hmm. So, what do you have to lose by snapping it and subbing it to PSA or SGC again to try to get a number on?
True, but I want
a number. If you get a 2 on that, the card is at least double value.
But on a bad trim job, is it really going to get that?
Yeah, but George, if you get a good look at that, which he texted to me, it's clearly like you could tell it's trimmed. There's no way it's going to get a number.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm just saying that with any authentic card, I mean, like you said, who's trimming those? I mean, maybe they're just like that. Maybe the tolerance, maybe this, I don't know. But
or maybe they trimmed it to try to get a better grade and they didn't do as good of a job as they thought they were.
Yeah, but if you have an authentic card, you have nothing to lose by resubmitting it to try to get a number, because the worst they're going to do is say it's authentic again, unless you think it's fake and again you got lucky to get an authentic.
But if you crack it out of there, it's going to say evidence of trimming. Isn't it better just to have the stupid A?
Well, that was graded before they did that.
Yeah. It was graded like
but George, if you crack it out there and resubmit a card that valuable, what's it going to cost you? $10,000 to crack and resubmit?
No, this one's
5,000?
not that valuable. I mean, I think this is under the $5,000 limit. So it's
Yeah, no, I mean,
150 or something. I don't know.
yeah,
That card, there's no way. That card's under $5,000.
Well, if it's a letter, if it's a number, if it's a 2 or 3, it's probably 30 grand or something.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know,
that's
so-
a tough to find card.
Yeah,
well,
they're hard
but
to
if they
find.
upcharged you and they said, okay, we graded it and we believe you said that you believed it was worth 5,000. We graded it a 2. We think it's worth 12.5. They're going to upcharge you, but you're going to happily pay the upcharge, right? Because
I
now you
guess. I
have a
mean,
card
I
that's
don't
a 2.
know. Are you guys
Yeah, but
happily paying
like
your
I was saying,
upcharges?
most altered cards, you can tell they're altered. So you're just throwing your money away. I know you PSA addicted guys like to keep resubmitting, but how
Right.
much money is it going to cost you to do that? When you
Oh,
can
no.
look at it and know it's altered, like
But
you're
all
not
you
going to
gotta
get
do
it by.
to
I personally
George's-
wouldn't
all you
do
gotta
that.
do is all you gotta do though is hit 1 out of 10, right? I mean, and then that makes.
I mean, it's
all
not
your-
like you're using Kurtz juice or you're
Right.
waxing your chromies up. You know,
I have a
those
card-
ones,
I
they're
have
clearly
a card
undersized.
that is-
Right.
So you're I'm just saying though that in the low, like when you're dealing with pop reports, this crack and resubmit game, and people don't return the flips and say, "Oh,
Right.
I cracked it out. Here, PSA, have your flip back." They don't do that. And
There's
so
no
then
doubt. There's no doubt about that.
there's fewer cards in the pop report than they actually sit. There are fewer cards actually out there than are in the pop reports.
Yeah. No.
When you,
I-
and it doesn't matter when you're dealing with a 1960 Hank Aaron where there's like tons of them, but when you're dealing with a card like that, it matters.
It does. Yeah.
Mike,
what are you
can
gonna
you
do?
tell if does it look wavy or anything like that?
A little bit. Yeah, that one does. I mean, not just a tad, but you can tell it's there with the eye. If you put this in a big scan, like the scan that I sent you, John, of that card, you can go, move in on it and you can tell,
Okay.
by the way the gap is. It's just been barely shaved a little bit. So
I just know those
whatever.
cards, and the only way, what I noticed is, the corners are sharp, and the
Mhm.
corners aren't sharp on those cards.
Right. I mean, that's the truth. But yet it fits pretty good in the holder,
Yeah.
which I always like when it fits in the holder, because some of these cards, they just don't fit in the holder.
There are so many authentics out there, and you can get them for a lot less. So a lot of people collect them these days. A lot of people collect them.
I mean, I'm not afraid to pick up the anything with an A or authentic altered, especially for some of the. I mean, if you want to get into the Joe Jackson game, or
Yeah, right.
you're going to try to spend $20,000 or $30,000 on a Cracker Jack, it's going to be A. And I think our friend Tony's got a gorgeous one in an A, but you're going to have to pay as much as it for probably a 2.
That's a pricey card.
They are. I don't know where they get that money. So here's another couple I have that I got. Here's a really neat one. This is what I call another Lennon McCartney special. See this one? Lennon McCartney.
That is a classic Wagner, like those
It
forearms,
is.
right?
I love.
Yeah.
If you could see the veins in his forearm.
Yeah.
I mean, all there is in my forearm is fat. He's got veins in his. And this is a rare blank back. There's only 3 blank backs, and this is the highest graded. It comes from this guy, E.C. McLeod. Who the hell that is, I have no idea. But he must have had a good collection. And I've been shooting for one of these cards for a while. And it went for a great price at Golden. I was just not going to be denied on these. It was quite a spree. And so I guess I got a couple more here to show. Whoops, daisy.
Reslap.
Here's one of my favorite poses. You guys know this.
Wow.
It's another ice cream. Herringbone Babe Ruth. This was also at the Golden Auction. And I haven't really liked the Golden Auctions over time, but this vintage was very easy to shop. It was, I couldn't believe how fast they got here. You paid like on a Monday, it was here on Thursday. That's very unlikely for me to happen. Normally, you send a check and then they want to sit on it for 3 weeks or something. You forget you bought it sometimes. But this is a beauty. It's got the little bit of ice cream on the back. So what's your guys' thoughts on taking a card like this and having it reholdered? Would you do that, or would
Do
you
it.
just You think
Do
so?
it. Do unless you're okay.
Okay.
If SGC is very careful about reholdering cards and
Mm-hmm.
very good about it, like PSA. I mean, I've had damaged cards before. Haven't had SGC damage a single card. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
on that though, yeah, a lot of people shy away from that old green flip, but
It
get it
actually looks
reholdered,
pretty
man.
good, and it looks pretty nice in this green flip.
You know what?
Because
That number's far too small. I want to see the number when I look at that card.
me too. I need a big number on there. But you know what? I think if you sent this in like to PSA or something, they could give it a 1.
You know what? Just have them send you a blank slab with the grade up there.
I want mine to say Mangini
And keep the
collection. I want mine to say Mangini collection on the top. Great. Or better yet, Dylan's flips.
I
His
get
things,
you know
those
I
are
get a
gorgeous.
nervous wreck sending my cards in every time I had
Me
done
too.
it, and I did do some reholders because I years ago some of them had darkened, like SGC labels will darken over time.
Yeah.
And it was driving me crazy, and I was considering cracking them out. And back then, I was still sending in some grading here and there, like back around 2016-ish.
Yeah.
So I did have some, and it was right when they moved to the big number. It was right at that time. Was that 2016?
15
Maybe
or something.
17?
Yeah, maybe.
No, they moved to the big number, I think, in 2019.
Was it 19?
Really?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
it was the winter of 2019.
Okay. I thought it was earlier than that.
During
But
COVID?
I had a stack of cards. And they
no,
sat here
before
for the
COVID,
longest
right
time.
before it,
Oh,
like
interesting.
January, February. I remember I received the submission like around early February, and I was shocked that it was the new numbers. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
So I mean, they're all right, but the stupid numbers are kind of stupid. I mean, they're kind of dopey. Now here's a beautiful card that
I have a
just
stack that's
love.
sitting here now. I'm debating get reholdered.
Well, I'm going to ask George on this one, and I want him to look up what he thinks on this, because this card that I'm about to show you here, this Oxnard convection oven, Ruth.
Hey guys,
You know I like
was I right when I told you he was just getting warmed up?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So again, look at the holder, how nice it is, and the one you don't find ones this nice. If you look here, there's paper loss here, so it looks like it blends in.
Yeah, it does. You're
And then
right.
there's a little paper loss down here into the uniform, so the name is not affected. The picture's not affected. It kind of blends in. The back is perfect. So, and it went for, I come to find out after I looked it up, after I bought it, that it went for a little bit less than it did the last time through Golden. So now, again, we're talking about, should you get that one reholdered, right?
Yeah,
I
I
would-
would.
I
You know,
would say,
here's what I say. If you're ever gonna sell the stuff, I would
Mhm.
get it reholdered for sure.
Mhm.
But if it's in your own collection and you like it and you feel like the holder's not beat up,
yeah,
and it's just for your enjoyment. I know I said
really like the way it looks. So back
Yeah.
in the day, I think they used to cut these black things to fit the card.
Yeah, they
Right.
did.
So when you go online right now and you can look up Oxford Confectionery, right, SGC, you look up their new label. Dude, guys, it looks like shit. It's got a 1-inch gap all the way around the card. It's sitting in a plastic sleeve. I mean, and then the PSA one is all sideways and it's sitting in the holder.
Oh
like
yeah,
shit
those
again.
are awful.
I mean,
PSA's
with the-
awful with those old vintage
It's
off-size
like, are you
cards.
guys working for the collector, or like it's like, what are they doing? What, don't they want to beautify the card and make it pleasurable to look at? And,
Oh, a lot of those old
easy to
PSA
sell? They don't
slabs,
give
like
a shit.
oversized or small cards, they're just like
Even
an
the
angle.
new ones, new ones with PSA, they're all fucked up. But anyway, I couldn't believe.
Oh,
I
they used
got
to put
this
the
card.
Colgan's
This is
chips
so
in a
nice.
baggie.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I went to the National last year, I took my Thai Cobb and I had it re-slabbed with SGC because I just couldn't stand it in that damn baggie.
Yeah, I mean, it does look kind of stupid. All right, so my last golden
Real quick, Mike, I want to
Yeah.
say something real quick.
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, if you really want to make sure that your card remains in the absolute same condition it's in now, you don't get it reholded at all.
Right.
Because again, they could damage it. I mean, the
Could
more
lose it in the mail.
hands that are touching these rare cards, the more likely it is them they're to get damaged. And as much as I'm pushing SGC and how good they are,
Mhm.
somebody's going to have to take it out if they screw it up and it falls on the ground. So and a lot of these cards, you're showing, you're going to have a
Mhm.
hard time replacing. If I
Yeah.
give them a 84 Donruss Ryan Sandberg in a 10, who cares? There's like a
It's
bunch
still
of
a 10,
400
though.
of
I mean, it's still a 10, and then
yeah,
if
but I
you
mean,
want any little.
there's 400 of them. But
Yeah.
this is stuff where if they damage it, they could pay you out all they want, but you can't replace it.
Yeah, you can't replace it. I'm with you, George, and I also agree with the idea. If you're going to sell it, maybe you just wait and you reslab it right before you sell it. Especially if it's in an old junk PSA.
But if it looks like
slab.
shit, like it does in these new holders, there's no sense in putting it and getting it redone in the new holder. And
Yeah, I
you
mean,
gotta
that's a
ask
personal
SGC.
preference.
I mean,
I
I'd
wouldn't
wanna
do
know-
it.
I'd want to ask
'cause
SGC,
that's gonna
like, how do
present
you
way
ask
better.
them? How do you ask them, like, how do you do that? How do you put a card of this value into a piece of shit holder?
Well,
Please
you
help
don't
me
care.
understand.
They'll be in Ontario. The Burbank show are now called
Those
the West
guys
Coast
are
Rookie.
just kids out there. They don't know shit. They're not
Well,
gonna.
Hopefully there'll be somebody there who knows something. Some
There's
supervisor.
not. I was in Pasadena. They're just a bunch of two kids that were working the booth there. Whatever. They're taking the cards in.
You know why?
get it?
I personally think that it doesn't matter once you're dealing with a rare card. So
Yeah.
I've sold a lot of cards in the old flip, and they're more obsessed with the card itself, that they finally came upon one and getting it for a grade that they can afford. I mean, a price that they could afford.
Right.
So I think the flip is just irrelevant when it comes to dealing with really rare cards.
Well, that's good advice to us collectors, because I know you guys deal with the general public all the time at shows and you're selling and whatnot. So that's good. That's good.
Well,
to
the
know.
reason I'm saying reholder it is because with SGC, you can reholder it at a reasonable cost and you'll get it back in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, like
PSA, unless you pay them a boatload of dough, it's going to be like 4 months.
And I think
So-
they even told me, like, if you send it in, if the card is over a certain amount, or what, if you pay that 125, they put you on the 1 to 2 day rush system. So unless you send that card in with a bunch of $15 cards, and then it defaults down to 5 to 10 days or whatever. So that's what they told me anyway.
Yeah, but James
So-
is right, though. At the end of the day, if you have a super rare card like some of these cards are,
Yeah.
people are just excited to even find the card, right, James?
Yeah, I that's what I find. I don't bother ponying up more money towards the card that now eats into my profits. I just put it out there. And the
Well,
minute,
here's one that'll eat up out of your profit here. Let me show
the
you.
minute
This is-
someone sees it, they get excited they found one.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm buying a rare card, the last thing I'm worried about is the slab.
Right.
very scarce, very rare. I put down pop one, none higher.
Who's that?
Honest
That's my
Wagon.
friend Hans. Hans
Hans
John
Wagner.
Wagner. He was quite a man.
Best
yeah.
shortstop ever.
He wasn't as good as Hannes, but he was okay.
No, this is his brother.
Let's
His
see
brother
that.
Hans. It's a Sporting News. I love the Sporting News. M101-4. Pop one, none higher, only 3 graded.
Wow.
That's it.
3.
Okay. What, 1916, right?
1916. That's right. got
You know,
it.
there are other players other than Ruth Wagner and Cobb.
Oh, Garrick. I already showed Garrick. But other than that, is there other old players in that? Well, you have to build a base. That's what I've been trying to do. That's been my goal for the year, because I was kind of light on a lot of my pre-war. I had, I've probably added about at least 75% of this year of my collection was done this year. 25% of it was
75% was done this year.
yeah. I
Okay.
Well, I know
only-
you've been buying bangers left and right.
I only dabbled before the pandemic. I had like a couple. I was just started. I told you, and then they went out of sight.
So what you're saying is us YouTubers inspired you.
influencers.
Not really. I mean, this was my plan all along, but my plan was very short-sighted. I should have started with this from the top down.
So
I-
why
10
did you
years.
why did you get back in? Why did you start buying these? Are you buying them as an investment, or
No.
you collected when you were young? Why'd you get in?
I collected when I was young, and yeah, Orlando inspired me a lot. He said so. He definitely did. But so I always liked these guys, and I always liked these old cards, but of course couldn't afford them back then. And then when I got back into it, like around 2008, I was into autographs, balls, and pictures and shit like that. But there was way too much fraud.
Yeah.
I would go on these sites and
So you go to graded cards.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Right? Well, they're graded. I mean, they're not going to be fake. And that's when I started reading about them and all the trimmings and shit.
GSA has never graded a fake card or a trimmed card.
So that's why I wanted to start.
You're golden.
I wanted to start small in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Look, that was really my years: 70s, 60s, 50s, 50s, 60s, 70s, to learn. By the time I learned and I started getting into the pre-war, about like I said, the 25% or so of my collection, that's when the shit hit the fan.
So, Hope, I got a question. Now
Yeah.
that the bugs got you and you're fully in, who else do you want to put into that foundation other than Wagner?
Well, right now my foundation is strong.
Okay, but
and I don't have too much more. So next year I'm gonna be a much different collector next year. There will be a list.
so
I'm very
what's
sure.
the next level of players?
The next step next year, because my budget's shot this year, as you see. I mean, I'm just a simple guy that works for a living, runs a business that I've lived within my means for many years, and I love baseball cards, and I just love the collecting. And these cards have not been out a lot of them are coming out right now. They're being smoked out by all these auction houses. People are buying higher graded cards. They're trading in to these auction houses, so they don't have to spend any money. A lot of them, they have credit, or they're giving these as consignments for what they're buying. And you guys have to admit, you're seeing more things out there like this every day than you.
Yeah, I just
think
thought,
about that.
the big vintage guys are getting to that age where I just assume they're dying off and their families are selling them.
Yeah, I mean a lot. I mean, you're always good. I think you always have that.
I mean, there's an attic find every week.
It is incredible, isn't it?
Every 3 days.
There's a guy, and I sent these guys pictures. He handed me a bunch of mellow mints, which are really rare.
Yeah.
Wagner, Cy Young.
Are you serious?
Crawford. And it was basically, I was the first one to offer him something.
And what happened?
He slept on it, came back to me the next day, and we still said we're very interested. He walked the room, and Ash snaked us from it.
Because Ash has the wad.
He paid. We were willing to pay what Ash gave him, but we were waiting for that guy to do a back and forth.
I mean, what do you guys think about working a deal with the guy that, let's get some of these graded, kind of like similar to what Mike did with the Grail collection, but not quite, because he was after a third party. But I mean, if you would have just went to that guy and said, look, let's get some of these graded. I'll promise you X amount. And then anything that we get over this amount, we'll split it with you.
Well, I do this with people, and when they come to me and they have a collection, I started doing this about 4 years ago, and we determine, I can just buy you out,
Yeah.
Or if you have really good stuff, I can help you, and we can do a consignment, and I get a percentage of that,
Yeah.
and then we will all the grading fees, whatever we're grading, will get paid out of the sales.
Right.
And we'll do it that way, but I guess I feel like with a lot of these people who have these really nice vintage rare, when I say vintage, pre-war rare cards, they come across them in a lot of ways that are very unique, from family members, grandparents, uncles. Some people, this is going to be life-changing to them, even if it's just going to be like $25,000. It's going to be really important. Sometimes people just want it to go to somebody who would appreciate it. All kinds of reasons. But, I just try to figure out, me personally, I know James does this too, try to figure out what people want to do, what's their goal. If their goal is to get rid of the stuff now, then either I can buy it or I can get a group together, we can buy it.
Right.
But if they want to they're like, I'm not in a hurry, George. I have like a year and a half, 2 years. I want to get the most money possible. Let's do a consignment. We'll do that. So
this is a tough thing. I mean, this is a tough thing to talk about because as we're getting older, we have family and things like that. Like, I mean, I would hate for my collection to end up, at a card shop.
Well, yeah, that's a totally different animal,
I don't know. I mean, it could happen.
No, I mean like that conversation about I've got all these cards. What's going to happen to them when I die? Should I get them graded so they're easily fungible, or should I have them raw? That's a big conversation.
Well, none of us plan to die, but we're all going to. I mean, we try. Smart people, me too. I don't need to drink to have a good time, but I figure why take the chance? Here's looking at you.
All right, so is that it for you, Mike? You showed all your.
I mean, I have a couple more that are not very good, like this Wagner.
What? That's the mellow.
This was a booby prize I won. Wagner. It's a 1. It's a 1.
Oh my goodness.
A 1 for fun.
Well, I was going to say, Mike. I was looking at a lot of these cards. They're beautiful. I personally gravitate towards the cards that are illustrations, that have color. And those cards are awesome. But I was waiting. Is he going to show one that's
that's color? Well, because I never liked the black and white cards. That's why all the cards I bought up until 2000, so 10 years of buying cards, they were all color, not one black and white. So all 5 of these cards from Golden, they were black and white. That's why I always say, buy what you don't like. I mean, the other day I was showing a card, and the guy, he showed me this 48, beautiful Jackie Robinson Leaf card. Well, I never liked the Leaf. Well, otherwise I'd have got it for a song if I would have just listened to my own advice.
I
didn't like.
I don't like.
Yeah, I didn't like that for years either.
But now I love it.
I didn't like the Bond Breads. They're black and white. I like some of the poses, but I'm like, I don't like these black and white cards. I'll pass on them. So I passed on 5 different 1s, 1/5s. This is back in 2011, 2013.
For a couple hundred.
They were reasonable, yeah.
15,000 to look at them. Even the fake ones that John did the series on, because I was looking at it too. I'm out because anything that goes up like that. But I would look for the rounded corners.
Oh, the homogenized bread or whatever.
Isn't that right, John? The Bond.
Yeah, the rounded corners are from the bread, and the square corners are the Sports Star Subject. They came in boxes of 12.
Right. So I don't need the ones that are.
But there are fakes out there. You could tell by the backs.
But I would never buy anything like that raw.
The Sports Star Subject cards have a very distinctive looking back. Now, they were made by Arco Playing Card Company. And they came in a box that had an opening in the front, and you could see the face or the middle part of the card in the 12 card pack. And if you go back and you look, which I did, I did a lot of research on this, and you could find playing card boxes that look very similar to those that Arco made. And then the cards on the back, like the playing card stock, is the same color as the Sports Subject baseball cards. And there's boxing. There's 4 boxers in there too, but they're the same color. And then
so were they
also
put
made
in the bottom, or so were they cut? Were they cut out, or what? I mean,
no. They're square corner cards that came in a box.
Okay, they're square
corner cards. They also made Beatles cards. And if you look at the Beatles cards, they have the same coloring, the same exact coloring as there's some that are blank back versions. They have the exact same coloring as the Sports Star Subject cards, and that's the color that you want to. My newsletter shows you that color.
Yeah, the one from the 60s, the Beatles cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're this. I don't know Beatles cards that well, but Arco made them in, I want to say 63 or 64. They made some.
That was the last wig I used to wear, by the way. When I was 6 years old, I had a Beatle wig, and I used to dance on the coffee table.
But I just hate that people. I hate that the grading companies call them all bond bred, including I have a bond bred exhibit. Those are rare, but
Right.
bond bred never issued exhibits, so that's stupid. But I hate that everybody thinks the square corners are fake. They're not fake.
I
They
call
are
it
not
fake. I
fake.
call everything
And then
fake.
and then the other thing is, a lot of people will say, well, they were made in 1949. But there's no evidence of that. In my newsletter, I delve into the players in the set too. For instance, who is it? Joe Gordon is shown with the Yankees, and in 1949, he wasn't even with the Yankees.
Indians, right?
Stuff like that.
Like the home
And
run derby card you were talking about. It's from
yeah, so
1960. What do
anyway,
you got there, George?
This is not the Beatles card. These are not the. This is
Oh,
the mainstream.
Love you, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't put me
Arco
on.
had a certain Beatles card. I don't even know if it
look
was
at
many.
those.
It might have just been one.
Ringo here.
Yeah, this is just a blue. The back's just blue. This is the common set.
I love that. Yeah, but that's a very underrated set.
This is what you need to have. When they're talking about on-card autos, this would be a great on-card auto.
John Lennon on card auto. One of one. Now, somebody mentioned exhibit. You know, I'm totally against exhibits because they're a fad, kind of like these photos. So I think John mentioned he was going to maybe show a photo. I don't know if you got it yet or not, or you talked about that, but I don't get into photos because I missed the boat on them. So I don't want to get into a rabbit hole with them, much like exhibit cards. Those were usually a song you could get them
Yeah,
for. Now
I
they're out of the
they've certainly come up, but I think they have more room to grow in popularity myself.
Well, I got this one.
And photos, I think,
my
are going to
friend
be the next
Darren-
big thing to blow up. Type one.
My friend Darren inspired me.
So who do you got on there? It's Ruth and
Ruth, Gehrig, Leo the Lip,
Leo. Yeah.
and I think the guy's name is Henry. Is it Koenig?
Okay. German for king. Koenig.
Yeah, but look at that picture of Ruth.
Why don't you
can
cut
see his
those up
big-
and have 4 different cards?
You know, that's a good idea, and get them graded.
Yeah.
PSA 10, one
Yeah.
of one.
Why,
guys,
why grade
that's
once
all
when
I
you can
got.
grade 4 times?
I think Mike insulted Scott. He wants Mike to repent.
How did I?
You said you hate exhibit cards, and Scott loves
Oh, he
exhibit
loves.
cards.
Well,
I love
hate
exhibit
them
cards,
because
too.
they're too expensive now. They're out of my
Well, there's some exhibit cards of guys
throwing
who
on.
like they're
Orlando.
tough to get. I
Yeah.
mean, Satchel Paige, that 47 to 66 exhibits card has gone way up because there just aren't many Satchel Paige issues. And that exhibit card's the pop on it from PSA is somewhere like 300. I sold one recently, and the guy was trying to get me down a little bit, and I'm showing him the pop report on my phone. I'm like, there's 250 of these, dude. Like, it's Satchel Paige. No, I'm not moving on
Right.
my deal.
Did
But-
he buy it?
Yeah, he got it. We
He
traded
bought
it.
it anyway.
But that's the thing. Some of these, I understand there's like a lot of exhibits of different players, but as you go back, earlier, and John, you're well versed in this. These exhibit cards of Ruth and Gehrig and Johnson are real early. I don't.
1921, aren't they? Or most?
Yeah, there's
20s.
Well, the postcards too. I have
Well, this
like
thing was
this-
actually
the
a postcard too.
some of these postcards are single-digit pops from the early 1900s.
See how it's a postcard?
How about a Max Stein postcard?
Oops.
Those things are near impossible to find.
Who's Max
Max-
Stein?
Max Stein and the sepia,
Whoa.
the 1910 sepia postcards are tough.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
I just saw a Wagner sell.
I'm a fan of the
I was-
exhibit cards. and
I was going to buy it, but it sold out from under me.
yeah, I got your Paul Wainer rookie card and the exhibit card.
Big
you got-
poison, little poison.
Big poison.
Mine? Oh, thanks. You need my address?
No.
Hey, everybody
Oh,
heard
enough
him say
cards.
my Paul Wainer card, right?
You got enough cards, but it's considered his rookie card. It's true rookie, so that's why.
What
Can
year
an
is it?
exhibit card be a rookie card?
Well, we talked. You did a video about this, John, right? We talked about the 47 Jackie Robinson, the 47 to 66 Robinson, and that picture is not on the Dodgers. He's
Right,
on the,
it's on the Expos, but
Gotcha.
that particular card was issued in 48, not 47.
And I don't care. I call it whatever.
well, the
I want.
Leaf
But I-
was issued in 49.
Well, growing up, I always thought it was cool because there was a chance it was a rookie card because it was 1947 to 66. But that was before I knew people actually knew the years based on different things and factors.
So I
So
don't really care
apparently,
about
from the
rookie cards
research, that
much.
was issued in 48.
I don't know why I never did. I never cared about rookie cards.
I really don't either. The
People love
rookie,
them though.
no, the rookie cards, and I don't call them rookie cards. I call them like first cards, first card issues, because most of them aren't in their rookie year anyway.
I mean,
But
if I
like,
wanted a rookie,
I always was drawn to the obscure first cards, like Robin Yount's 75 hostess card,
SSTC.
stuff like that.
Right.
You know, because nobody else was going after those kinds of things.
How
I
about
was
Cena?
eating Twinkies every day to try to get those.
Yeah, or like the
I know you couldn't tell.
the 78 Ozzie Smith Fun Center card. Like that was a full year before his rookie card.
John, how about Z-Nuts?
Z-Nuts, I mean, badass. They're so hard to find in even decent condition, and man, they're so scarce when you find
They're
those
rare.
those obscure players.
And then they have the tab on, tab off.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. But they're number one, they're so hard to find. Period. Then they're so hard to find in good condition. Most of them are all beat up. And then if you do find one that's presentable, it's an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So, all right. Now, I know George has something to share. We can't let Mike just bogart this whole
Sorry
life.
about that, guys, but I have to. You asked, and when you ask me, you're gonna get it.
Okay. Yeah, I got a FedEx today, and this
All
is
right.
my first Beckett submission ever.
Beckett.
And
They still grading.
I know, right? And I'll tell you the story behind this. I was at a show, and if you watch one of my videos, I picked up a Jackie Robinson autograph program from the same guy I bought this from. But this is a basketball card, and it's an 80s basketball card. And I had no choice but to go with Beckett on it because they're the only one who grades it. You guys have any guess as to what it is?
Oh, it's a star.
Yes.
Man,
I
that
thought
was an easy
PSA
one.
does the star though. Don't they do the star now too?
PSA only does star the rookie pre-rookie 84 Fleer or 84.
Right.
PSA does 84 star cards. They don't do this second year card of this guy. So here's what it came in. And by the way,
it mustn't be a card then.
it's not real because they don't
If
grade
they
it.
won't grade it, it's not worth it.
Beckett,
Grade
real.
anything. Beckett don't
SGC
grade
doesn't grade this either. Only Beckett does. And by the way, Beckett was fantastic. Door to door, man, they were like probably 2 weeks. Oh, nice.
So if PSA and SGC can't tell if it's real, how can they?
Well, I guess Beckett's been grading these guys for a long, long time. And so this is
Not the guys at Beckett now, though.
What's that?
I mean, back in the day, like
What?
Dr. Beckett and his crew.
So
But
this
these
is,
guys probably haven't been.
Look at this.
this is a second year Jordan, and I thought it had a chance at a grade like this.
An 85?
85 star Jordan 117.
Oh, jeez. I
Nice.
remember those cards like they were yesterday.
Nice.
And it got a 9, and all the subgrades are 9s.
Oh, boy.
So,
I love those
you know,
subgrades. That looks good in that holder. Though, those holders are so damn nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't even the guy had 2 star cards. He said he sold one of the Jordans, and then he had this one, and so we worked the deal on it. And I just said, well, I was thinking, where do I send it? And then Beckett was the only one who graded it, so that's where it went.
Holy cow, you bought a raw card?
All the time.
We'll see. It's hard for me to do.
I
that
also
these days
sell
because
uncertified autographs.
uncertified. Let's see it. I'm an autograph king. Who signed it?
Oh no. This I'm saying I sell uncertified autographs.
Oh, you sell them.
I from Bench Clear was getting shit for selling an unauthenticated autograph.
That's because he had Hacksaw Dugan fucking doing the authentication.
Was it the Rock?
I always I compare the signature myself, even if it's graded, because there are so many fake ones in slabs.
Yeah.
And I always,
That's when
I
you can
studied
tell,
handwriting
though.
analysis.
The
And
guys today,
I
you can't
do it
tell
myself.
because anybody could forge today's little squiggles.
yeah.
You know, everything's a squiggle.
Have you seen Anthony Richardson's autograph? That is like the worst autograph. It's
Have you
tiny.
seen him play? It's like the
Yeah.
worst quarterback.
He plays like his signature.
Well, you have to understand, like the newer guys, they didn't grow up learning cursive,
Right.
and they probably never had to sign their name. Where would they have to sign their name until they signed
Yeah.
their contract?
My 14-year-old's twin sons, they went to the school down the road for a while called Legacy Traditional School. And so it's a traditional curriculum, which I agreed with like, it's just like, you read chapters and answer questions and memorize shit. And you know what I mean? Like, it's
Imagine
not
that.
foo-foo crazy, it's like just traditional school. And you know what? They had cursive. And my son still signed, my son Ryan still signs his name in cursive. And
Yeah.
it looks great.
Absolutely.
Have some pride in your name. It's not just a scribble. That's my personal.
That's what.
Well,
Kilgore used to
mine's a
always
scribble
say.
because I have horrible penmanship. I can't sign my name,
I have good.
and I
writing.
always printed. I was never good at cursive. But I printed very neatly. So I always printed everything, even when I was little, unless I was forced to do it in cursive. So
And
my
now
penmanship is so horrible.
Printing
So
is more
horrible.
acceptable than it used to be in our day, for sure. But I
Well,
mean, those guys back in the day had beautiful signatures,
My
Yeah.
grandmother used to say, like, I'd come home and I have my stuff for school. Let me see your writing assignment. And it's like, you can write better cursive than this. And I'm
Right.
like, and you were born in 1914.
Yeah, the only thing I ever wrote in school was my excuse faking my parents.
Yeah.
And then I had
Little Johnny
I had a
was
girl who
absent
would
today.
sign it every single time, so
Oh,
it was
yeah.
always the same signature.
Yeah. Women's
we
handwriting.
used to just go in
It's
there
my
and steal a
mom.
slip and tell the lady, hey, look over here, and then somebody over there would go, click it in.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny is if my mom ever actually signed something for me, I would have gotten busted because they wouldn't have believed it was her. Because the other 20 they had was this classmate of mine.
Yeah, it's so true.
Guys, we were just talking about autographs. So it just so happens I did a little pickup at the show this weekend, and I want to run this through you to see if you could catch what's odd about this card.
All right.
Hold it up.
It's signed by Eddie Murphy. It's a popular demand with some kind of a fake sock. And he's batting right-handed, which he's a switch hitter.
Who's the name on it?
It's Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
That's his autograph.
Yeah, it looks right. I mean,
Cleveland Indians. It's Topps Pristine, right?
Yes, sir. Topps Pristine.
Is that what the T stands for? I thought it was a Topps Nebula.
Can you tell what's off about this card?
What's it say above the swatch?
Well,
above the swatch.
Popular
demand. So it's not popular demand?
Eddie Murray.
What's wrong?
Give us a hint.
Well, Scott almost has it there, and on his jersey,
it's a Cleveland Indians.
What did he say?
It doesn't have the Cleveland Indians logo on it.
right? It looks like a Panini product.
It looks like a Panini
Oh,
product.
it's not licensed, he said?
Why though? Why is the question if it's Topps Pristine?
Why is it unlicensed?
Well, I
know,
noticed
because
that. I
Murray
didn't
Murray
realize
has
that's what you were asking.
Murray has a contract with somebody else?
Never
I don't-
thought about it.
Nope.
Don't know, don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares about Eddie Murray.
What
The
year
year-
is that? What
the
year
year
is that?
It's this year, 2024.
He only has 500
Well, maybe-
homers in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe the Indians logo was too offensive.
Yeah,
could be.
No, I'm being serious.
But they wouldn't have a logo.
That's
It
it
was
right
unlicensed.
there. Cancel culture at its finest. They
Cancel
canceled out the
culture.
Indians.
You're
'cause it's
serious.
offensive.
Is that the answer?
Yes. They don't even
That-
have it on the back. On the back, they didn't even put. They just put Cleveland on the back.
Cleveland team.
Yeah, they didn't want to put Indians or Guardians because he never played for the Guardians.
That's why you have to
guys-
collect
Oh.
vintage, man.
If
They
Put
were
those
that's not
called
the
the
dumbest
Indians at that time.
Put those kaboomies away.
But my
shit-
question is,
shit.
does cancel culture have that much power over even tops now?
Well,
like,
the thing is you can't erase history,
That's
and that's
the
who he played
thing.
for.
it's like you're gonna erase Larry Doby now. Like, if you put something of his now, like,
Yeah, that you can't say Larry Doby broke the color barrier in 1947 with the Cleveland Guardians.
you can't.
Not
Yeah.
accurate.
It's not accurate. Well, it always makes me laugh when I see he's in the Cleveland Guardians Hall of Fame. Nap Ladjway is in the Cleveland Guardians Hall of Fame.
Is that really offensive to Indians, though?
No, Indians don't
I mean,
really.
I
have
think
a
it's
problem
more
with
of
it.
a. I think it's just the opposite, to be honest.
I'll tell you what, the
watch
Guardians is such a dumb name, and I voluntarily said, name them the Cleveland Italians. I'm not going to be offended by that.
No.
I think it's cool as hell.
Yeah,
What
well,
about the Cleveland Goombas?
Scott and
Yeah,
I were
whatever.
talking, they should have been the Cleveland Spiders. That would be cool as shit, right?
Cleveland Spiders.
Better than the Guard. What the hell's a
Back to the
Guardian?
Spiders. I mean, I would have a Spiders jersey. I might be wearing one right now.
How much
So
longer till
the
Braves?
Cleveland
They're gonna be-
Indian team, what they adopted some kids? They're their guardians. Like, I don't get it.
Do they
It's the
still do
dumbest name ever.
tomahawk chop? Do they still do the chop? Oh,
Yeah, are they the Guardian? Are they the Guardians of the Midwest? Are they
How
the-
can you have a cool emblem? Like the Atlanta Braves had the tomahawk, and
Mhm.
like
And
what do
the
you do
Indians
for a
emblem,
Guardian?
the
Here's one
emblem
for you.
is iconic. I mean, when I used to collect hats, that was my favorite hat, the Cleveland Indians hat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No doubt. I mean,
not anymore.
I mean,
No.
could you imagine if you get
No,
a
I'll-
Joe Morgan card with the Colt 45s, and you
Yeah.
get like a gun little patch, like they're gonna cancel that too. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
what are
I
you going to
think
do
they-
about malt liquor?
they didn't have a contract or something. What was the story behind that? Behind the Colt 45s, like was that in 65 to 60 and then 68?
Yeah.
His hat was it was in
No,
a
they were
45.
earlier than that, weren't they? 61.
Well,
61
let's talk
before?
about the dumbest one.
Oh,
The
which one?
Elvin Hayes, one of the great power forwards of all time.
Right.
Went to the NBA Finals twice in late 70s and won a championship with the Washington Bullets, later renamed the Washington Wizards.
I
What
want to
is
tell you something.
Wizards?
The Washington Bullets was one of the greatest names in sports history.
Yeah, what does a wizard have to do?
Actually,
Washington
Orlando says
team.
Cleveland owner as
I
well.
mean, but the thing is the Bullets were named long before they started shooting everybody in DC. Like, just because they started shooting everybody, why'd you have to do away with the name?
And
Like, I mean, that's a cool name, Bullet.
Two of the in your
It's like
time
Coors
period-
Light's a silver bullet.
Yeah, it's
Is
a
that
silver
offensive?
bullet. No,
I
I mean, it's like when you this late 70s, right? When your Pirates were rolling, you had these two back-to-back NBA finals with the Washington Bullets and the Seattle Supersonics. Neither of them exist anymore.
Yeah.
What happened to the Supersonics? How come they don't call them? Why did they change that name?
They went to Oklahoma City.
Oh, that's right.
So
And,
they're
and
no
how
more-
about the Utah Jazz? What
yeah,
the hell sense does that make? There's no Jazz in Utah.
no.
When they moved
No.
the team, they should have changed the damn name. New
They're-
Orleans, it's the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yes,
They should be the Jazz.
They should. That's right.
I mean, there's no Jazz in.
don't you
in
go
Utah?
to Provo? Don't they have a jazz festival every year in Provo? Sorry, what's up with that?
Utah is not known for their Jazz.
right.
All right, I mean, you could have called them the Mormons or something like that. They're
Yeah,
certainly
you-
not known for their Jazz.
Yeah, come watch the Jazz play and go to Zion.
Well, I mean,
Canyon.
you can watch Jazz in any town anywhere. But
Hey, what do you
they're
guys think about this VWEM with his own series of cards for 10 grand a box that they've been all scammed?
Who's
before
what?
they get
What?
sold. VWEM. You know, I like to talk with nicknames. All these guys, T Law, T Lance, J Rod. Everybody's got a
V-Wem?
fucking nickname. VWEM.
Wemby.
Whatever you want to call him. He's
Hey,
got his
by
own
the way,
card, this thing.
Another great name that went by the wayside.
Which one?
Houston Oilers.
That's, by the way, still
Fantastic
there?
name.
Is that awoke? Are they awoke?
Houston Oilers.
The Houston
yeah.
Oilers.
Like what? I mean, like, why wouldn't you be the Houston Oilers? The
Well,
Texans.
they
like,
you
used
wanna
to
be
name
the-
you for
You have
what
to be
your
the
city was
Houston
known
Solar
for,
Energy.
right?
Yeah.
He's a solar,
Most of the time. Most
Well,
of the
the
time.
Commanders is the one that the Indians themselves wanted them to go back to the Redskins because they felt honored that they were called the Redskins.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can understand changing the name. Maybe the name's offensive, but to be honest with you, to me, that their emblem was awesome.
Again, another
I mean, that
badass
depicted Native Americans. It was a chief. It was just an awesome image.
Oil was bad.
I think
See,
that
Orlando
honored
says.
them.
Oil spills, these guys are saying. You can't have the Houston oil spills.
Dan Pastorini can do whatever he wants.
I love him, Dan
what
Pastorini.
the
He was
Pittsburgh
good.
Steelers used to do to Dan Pastorini should be a crime. And
Yeah.
he wore this big flap jacket
Yeah,
because
he
they
did.
used to just pound him. And
They did.
did you know that he was a stuntman in the off season?
Pastorini was?
Yeah, Bum Phillips used to have a fit.
I mean, you bum Phillips. I mean, right there, right?
Yeah.
Cowboy hat, just
Yeah.
looking like he's got a dip in his mouth. He's walking
So
around.
one time, after the Steelers beat them in the playoffs, he was leaving the field and some fan stole his hat. But after he had his fun with it, he gave it back to him because
I mean,
Pittsburgh
football-
fans are classy.
Football
'Cause he
in the
knew it would be
60s,
all
let's
over.
face it, man.
Somebody just thought it
it
would be
was-
funny to
it
take
was
his hat
so
off,
great.
I guess.
When you
And he was
had,
like,
Vince,
he was running around chasing them.
you had Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry. Lombardi, a certain something lingers in the very name.
Yeah, I need some music like that. Like, what
Yeah.
happened to the NFL? Like, why
Gosh.
don't we have
And
these things
According to
anymore?
Orlando, they're woke.
That's why
The
we
NFL's
collect
woke.
cards. We're trying to relive the good old days, man.
There's no doubt that we're
When
chasing
teams
our
had
youth.
cool names and the NFL had NFL films and Major League Baseball had This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen. Come
How
on.
about that?
How
Great stuff.
about that? That was great. Game of the week.
They don't even have a show like the Baseball Bunch anymore.
No, they don't, because those guys make too much money. They don't want to do anything.
And if they do have a if they do have a show about baseball cards, it's only about the money and what to invest in.
So, John, what are you going to do about this scanning problem that's going on when you're hobby president? Are you going to shut that shit down?
Absolutely, we're going to shut that down.
I mean, because that's scanning. I heard it's pretty widespread. That
Well, you're
everything
right
that's
here with my attorney general,
your cabinet.
my attorney general George.
George is your attorney.
Yeah,
He'll get shit. He'll get shit done. Unlike
I'm also going to
Merrick
have
Garland.
a DOJ head, so we'll have two people involved. The DOJ will go after them. George will prosecute.
Hey, I don't care what these people say. We're going to weaponize this system.
We're going to weaponize
We're
this
started
scanning system.
violators to justice. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow.
Hey, so what do you think?
Someday,
How long-
And
how
we're
much
going to be
longer-
like Facebook and YouTube and everything too. We're going to shut down bad speech.
How much
Like
longer?
if it's
do you
if it's
think
bad
you're gonna
speech,
be-
we're going to shut
you're
it
gonna
down.
be breaking?
Down with the bad actors.
How much longer is this breaking going to go on?
When is the vote over?
I think tomorrow night they're going to be. I'm going on the show there to do one last push. A kaboomy in
No,
downtown.
the voting's ended. The voting ended.
It ended already.
When did it end?
Did they?
Well,
advise you of
so
the winner?
they had announced it was going to end when the U.S. presidential election was called. When a
That
winner was
was called at
announced,
4
it would
o'clock
end
at-
then.
Before
So
the
it didn't
polls
have a
were closed.
definitive end date.
So you won? Were you
I have
the-
no idea.
They got your picture up there. I saw on their thumbnail. You must be close. They don't have the other guy, Arnold Horshack, whoever his name is.
I don't know what I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this job.
All
Well,
you're supposed to do is just dance around and look pretty.
You got to give a speech. You know, you got to say, give your thanks to everyone.
4 and
Right.
7 scans ago.
Oh God,
How you
We
going
had
to
breakers.
I don't know. I don't have a teleprompter.
Tell me you're gonna do
Politicians
away
can
with
only give a
breakers.
speech if they have a teleprompter.
George has to bring you the phone.
Yeah. You're not senile. You can make something up real fast. You can just say whatever you want. It's fine. So
Yeah, you need to
it's-
go on their show, John.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm an enigma.
You're an enigma.
George,
If that's handsome, you definitely are that.
I'll go on.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch the topic now. George had the new, what is it? The new ballot for the Hall of Fame, the
Oh
veterans.
yeah, the veterans ballot. The
Oh God, this is going to take a while. I think I
committee.
need to get a drink.
Yeah.
Right. We'll wait for you if you want to go. I'll talk
I mean,
fluff until then.
what about the only two guys? Well, we all saw Dave Parker, Tommy John, Steve Garvey, and my fondest recollection of Dick Allen is as a Dodger in 1971 and watching him his first at bat for a Dodger that I was at the game. He hit a monster home run over the center field fence in between the poles that I remember to this day. And then the Dodgers, he was a bad apple in the clubhouse, supposedly, or whatever. And they traded him to the White Sox the next year, and he won the MVP. Not
Yeah,
unlike the Dodgers.
My father-in-law, who was a Phillies fan, liked Dick Allen a lot, but apparently, from what he heard back in the 70s and 60s, he liked to, go out a lot and, carouse and do some things maybe that the organization wasn't like fond of. But,
Interesting.
hit
Yeah.
home runs and stuff. But yeah, the ballot here are 8 guys. There's they call, I don't know what they call it, the classic baseball era committee. But when you really think about it here, it's Ken Boyer and Tiant and John are really like 60s guys. Dick Allen, Dick Allen too, Steve Garvey, Parker, and then you have 2 Negro Leaguers, Vic Harris and John Donaldson. So 8 total guys. Who didn't get in.
Now, Boyer, I could see. Garvey, I don't know. The one thing I do like about, and I love Garvey, I saw him play as a kid. I do remember he was not on the ballot. That the ballot started about 72, 71 or 2, when they let the fans start to vote. And in 1974, he was not on the All-Star ballot. The fans
wrote him in.
He was the
only guy. He got a million write-ins.
A million write-ins. I remember being at the ballpark, asking the ushers. They would pass out those ballots, and I would write his name in there, and he got in. And
this is like Kent Herbeck in '83 or '82. Kent Herbeck was right in.
Was he really? I thought Garvey was the only one. I didn't know that.
I don't know if Herbeck made the team, but yeah, your Garvey 74. He won the MVP.
He won the MVP in 74, but he won the All-Star MVP too. And then they made it to the World Series, and they lost They lost in 74, right? Yeah.
I mean, they should let him in because he just lost that election. Let him win something this year.
He just lost the election. Well,
he just lost the. What a scumbag that guy is. Who he lost to too.
Well, Garvey's ain't no prize. He had about 5 wives, and he's got 6 kids with women. Other than that, he's a great guy.
I ran into Adam Schiff in New York City. He had one of those black FBI looking SUVs, and he had 2 of the largest bodyguards, 2 of the largest men I've ever seen in my life. I was right outside of NBC Studios, and he was going in, and he walked right. I was shoulder to shoulder with him, and I can't stomach that guy. I just think he's such a sleazeball. He's he's right beside me.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing there. But anyway, back to Garvey. He was a pretty good hitter, but he was a sucker for the outside curve in the dirt. He would get under Lasorda's skin, like if you remember back in the day, Lasorda, what rants he would go on. He would say, Garvey's like a fucking cricket player. He got 1 ball, double play ball to short, 1 hopper. That's all he would. He would rip the ball with those big forearms, or he just could not stay off the outside curveball in the dirt. He was just a blind spot.
So that's a no for you.
I don't think he has the counting stats. I don't know. He's borderline.
It depends on if we're okay. So James and I are the two young bucks here at 52 years of age, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so if we are looking at this from the perspective of when we all grew up, who's a Hall of Famer, the only ones that you should be taking into account probably are the 2 Negro Leaguers who didn't get a chance before.
Well, Tommy
Honestly.
John, he's
No,
got
but
288
all these guys
wins.
were on the ballot before. I'm just being like, all these guys were on the ballot before. They didn't carry enough votes, and they fell off the ballot, right?
They fell off the veteran committee too. So this is a different committee.
No, this is they keep rotating the committees. This is the new
Oh,
this
so
is
it's
the
not,
veterans.
they don't have the veteran committee anymore. This is called something different. I thought there was 2 separate committees.
No, this is now called the Classic Baseball Era Committee. So They
Okay.
keep recycling players and giving them a chance, right?
And somebody said like Dick Allen wasn't going to be on this, but yet here he is showing up.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I guess what I'm saying is when we were growing up, like
Mhm.
these guys just didn't make it. None of them made it. Okay,
Mhm.
I might have felt one way or another about one of the 2 of the guys,
Mhm.
other than the 2 Negro League players.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Harold Baines.
But
Is
yeah,
Garvey,
but now,
is Garvey, Parker, and Boyer and Dick Allen, are they better than Baines?
yeah, but now we've
Yeah.
changed the standards. The standards have
Yeah.
changed, right?
Well,
Like now we got these guys like Baines and Rowland and Helton and all these guys making it in, and it's like if they're in, well then, I mean, then I broaden my scope here. For me personally, the only guy on here old school voting would be John Donaldson. I'd vote him in, but if I'm going
Josh
with
Donaldson. Who's Josh Donaldson? Isn't he still playing?
that guy's an idiot.
John Donaldson? I mean, I haven't looked. I need to look up more.
But if I'm
going
going from the new standard of what a Hall of Famer is, there's multiple guys on this list, quite a few, that are way better than like a lot of the guys who've gotten in recently.
Tommy John is an absolute yes. He had 2 careers. He had his first career, and then he had this revolutionary surgery on his arm that now every pitcher has 3 or 4 of them in their career. And after he won like 150 games after he had the surgery.
He pitched a long time too.
I mean, he did. He had 288
Very
wins.
consistent.
I mean, he wasn't great, but he was second in Cy Young voting, I think 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. And he's a for sure for me. Dick Allen. So let's talk another thing about Dick Allen. His 1971 baseball card has to be in the Card Hall of Fame. Ray from Philly, if you're watching this, get off your ass and put that fucking card up there, would you? I mean,
There was
not
a
even on the
sitcom.
ballot every year. I mean, that was the first card with facial hair for 75 years. And that was the first card that I ever remember as a 10-year-old being off center. We were buying packs after pack here in LA, trying to get that Richie Allen card. Not only was it hard to get as a short print, every card was off center. You could have 20 of them and they're all off center. So for that card, like to find centered in the black border and as nice
Now,
a card.
back in '71, you were looking for centered cards?
Yes.
As a kid?
Absolutely. We all were.
You were way ahead of your time.
Was I? I mean, I don't know. We didn't care.
I don't know. We never paid attention to that. We just wanted the card.
We noticed that they were all off center because we used to have 20. So, John, you guys, in 1971, I had so many of these cards. I would cut them out. You know, like the 72s, I'd cut around the top. And then I had like 50 Willie Mays cards from 71, 72. I'd cut them out and make collages in my closet. I took one out, a big old piece of cardboard. I glued them all on there. For years, I kept these things.
So you're feeling so guilty that you go out and buy all these world-class cards now.
Well, I have
trying to make up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I always liked these cards back then. I just didn't have access to them. You know, the story of my 52 mantle in 1974, sending away as I was 13 years old, sending $75 through the mail for a 1952 mantle. I knew I wanted it even then. And then to this guy, Larry Fritsch, I think that's isn't that his name? Or
yeah, the
old dealer, Larry Fritsch.
Yeah,
he was like one of the first by mail dealers.
Yes,
and he had that ad every week. And I saved, my birthday money. I'd get $25 here. Your mow lawns. Gave them, my dad told me. I mean, I'm going to quote my dad because he was a very bright guy. I may not show it, but he told me, he said, "Son, you're fucked in the head." That's what he told me for $75. But now, I mean, I ended up paying, 200 times more when I finally got mine. But I sent that away in the mail, waited 6 weeks, and I
What
got
did you do
back.
with that? What
I
did you do
got,
with your mantle?
it never came. I got a Koufax rookie, which I ended up, that particular one I sold.
You
And I
sent
got,
$75 and you didn't get it?
no, I didn't. I got a credit memo for $25. That was one of the reasons why I quit in 75. I just said, that gave me a bad taste in my mouth, like right then, that I knew the guy was a scammer. I felt I got scammed.
Well, you did. He should have sent your money back.
Well, he sent me a credit memo and 2 cards. A Warren
That's
Spahn.
bullshit.
Well, it's not unlike these guys today. That was an early adopter. He was an early breaker. But I mean, $75. So that's how long I've been enjoying these old cards, and really have kind of as you know, I have a disdain for these new cards. I just hate them. I think when you have 3,000 rookie cards, and you have 1,000 different names and parallels of these guys, and now you throw the signatures on there. If you don't see a problem with that, and
Wait, 3,000? I think wasn't it? Who's the Jaguars quarterback?
T-ball.
Lawrence.
Thank you,
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, right from here in South Carolina. Drawing a blank.
T-ball.
I think somebody said he had 5,000 numbered rookie cards.
There you go. 1 of 1, 1 of 5, out of 5.
It's really absurd.
Out of 50. Oh my god.
Well, that's what James and I were talking about yesterday about Wemby. Just killing it with all these cards, killing the whole.
He's got. You don't think there's like 10,000 autographs right now, even in this one set?
That was exactly what I told George. Someone came up to me with a out of 55 Wembanyama autograph. The top's chrome, and I had a Steph Curry rookie card autograph. So he paid $2,500 for his. I had a $3,000 sticker on mine, and he was like, "I'll give you the difference, $500." And I looked up the comps; they were all over the place, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna pass." He was like, "What? Why? It's an even trade." I was like, "There's a lot of Wemby autographs out there. Like,
there's thousands in this one bar. I mean, this one little, what do they call it? Mercury."
Yeah, they came out the Phoenix.
What did they come up with that name? Mercury. Another fucking name that you need to know.
Well, top
listen, even though they're everywhere, if you have one that's stamped 1 of 1 on it, it'll still sell for $1 million.
Dude.
How about this Doyle Brunson guy I never heard of, with his card went from 300 to 100,000?
Oh my gosh.
Who was that?
Doyle Brunson.
Yeah, who is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Basketball player.
Oh, basketball.
Poker player.
Yeah, the poker player.
There was a trade night at the Dallas Card Show, and someone traded a 1 of 1 Superfractor Ellie De La Cruz for a gold Kaboom CJ Stroud. The gold Kaboom is out of 50.
Yeah.
Is that good?
He said the Kaboom was worth like 60 and
60 what dollars?
60,000. And
60,000 for CJ Stroud?
It's absurd, dude.
Sucks.
And he thought
absurd.
the 1 of 1 was around.
He does not suck. He's a good young quarterback, but that's not the point.
He's a bum.
CJ Stroud is not a bum.
What has he done? He's not even in the top 20 this year, is he?
He's a good young quarterback.
He's good.
Aren't they all? Aren't they all?
No, not
well.
all.
Weren't there like four or
Bryce
five
Young, he's
quarterbacks
not good?
benched last week?
Would you do that trade? Like, let's say you have a Ellie De La Cruz or the CJ Stroud. Would you do a trade like that?
Guys, I would trade if I had an Ellie De La Cruz. I would trade it as fast.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I don't give a shit if
it's
it was a none of none. I would fucking get rid of it as fast as I could.
It's hard to know which one's going to have a better career because they're both so young. They're both 2 years in the league?
Yeah, and they're both dynamic.
Ellie's an injury-prone guy. He steals a lot of bases. He could break Otami if he could stay healthy, and he was healthy last year. He was one of those guys that had 150 games. I mean, I'll give it to him. He had a good year.
De La Cruz is fun to watch, man.
He is. He's a good talent, but how about you do it for 10 fucking years before you spend $60,000 on
it's absurd.
1 of 1?
Well, it's also the mythical, Kabumi, the gold, like the gold Wemby is probably
I'm
$100,000.
selling all
But
my
he
gold
could be
kaboomies.
Carson Wentz.
I'm
He
getting
had that
some
one
down-
good year, and then he did nothing after that.
Oh yeah, but I have a downtownie of Carson Wentz with a signature. A one of one.
Downtown or downtown?
Whatever the
I'm
fuck
just
they-
saying,
one
there's
of the
like
large
those
ones.
quarterbacks and baseball players too. They just fall off the face of the earth, even if they
Even
have
the
one
best
good
ones.
year, and
Even
then
the best ones,
there's
man.
no way you're getting $60,000 for it.
I mean, me and George were talking about Mike Trout, and we were wondering if his prices are gonna keep dipping, or will they bounce back a little
I
bit?
think they'll probably come back next year, like the first month of the year when he's out there and he's DHing until he steps in a gopher hole, like around June, with a 2-week injury that lasts for 6 weeks, and then he comes back and he gets hurt again, like he has for the last 4 years in a row.
So
I mean, he's a
today,
great-
I mean, it's
okay,
go
today
ahead.
I picked up this just Mike Trout rookie in a 7 from a guy, right?
yeah.
and I
for
was
how much?
shocked.
$50?
I wish it's like $120. It's
Okay.
probably a $200 card. But I was shocked at how little this card went for now.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
literally 2 months ago, the card in a 7 was going for 300. One sold the other day for 200, and it's just like a precipitous drop. And the truth is, every spring, I've been dealing cards, like on and off for a long time, but really kind of more often over the last 3.5 years or so. Every spring, people are on the Mike Trout bandwagon, and they're
He's
buying.
great.
And then, something happens. And when you look at his stats, it's just like, I mean, it's really, I thought it's really disconcerting. And I remember with Griffey, you thought, oh man, Griffey went to Cincinnati and the shit hit the fan, and the second half of his career was difficult.
Yeah.
I used to say that Trout was headed towards a Griffey trajectory for his career.
At least.
Now I look at Trout's stats and I say to myself, Griffey's trajectory was way better. Griffey had 500 home runs. Trout is not close to that. It's like, man, he was so good for like 8-9 years, like the best. Mickey
And he was
Mantle.
great. And I saw
Mickey
him many
Mantle.
times. I saw him hit many a homers.
Oh, he's
out
so
there.
good.
He was great. But I have to
now,
say, what I don't like about him is last year, with that knee injury, he started off pretty good. Remember how hot he was?
He had 10.
Yeah, he was real hot.
But
he was
still
leading the
hitting-
league
he
in
was still
home
hitting-
runs when he
but
got
was
hurt.
still hitting 220 though. He was leading
Yeah,
the
but
league
he
in
had-
homers, hitting 220.
He had 10 home runs in 25 games. He was leading the American League in home
He
runs.
gets hurt. The Angels want him to keep playing and tell him that he can have surgery in the offseason. They want him to DH.
Yeah.
Right? He says no.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it's his right to say no and go get surgery. But you know what? I knew damn well he was not coming back because at some point he's out, for 6 weeks. He comes back in 8. Why would they even put him back out on the field in August when the Angels are 25 games out? It's like, dude, I take my kids to the Angel games. I happen to know one of the announcers there, and he brings us up there. He signs balls and for my grandkids and everything. And I want him to see Trout. And before that, Ohtani. And the last 3 years, the fucking guy's nowhere to be found. He's not in the dugout. I mean, where is he? He's out opening cards with his son. Good for him. But I got to tell you, if I'm a player in that dugout and that guy's making $38 million a fucking year for 8 years, and you won't DH for me with a little sore knee, and you want to go get it operated on, fuck you. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is. And you want to collect him? Go ahead.
Wait,
I
but
don't
Mike,
like him.
Go ahead.
But Mike, do you think his cards have a chance to bounce if he has a great
Yeah.
year next year?
Yeah, they'll bounce up a little bit. I think they might be a good buy. So, like at $120 like that. Wasn't that card at one time worth $5,000, George?
Well, the 10 was up at the peak was like $8,000,
Oof.
and then
It
it
might
went
be a
down.
lesson. I mean,
I have a friend who has one. He wasn't going to take less than 3, and he get offered like $26.50.
by the way,
It's
I
crazy.
see Spook here. Dela Cruz, 60 steals and 200 Ks. Okay, he's not a pitcher. He had 600. He struck out 35%
Yeah,
of the
he
time.
strikes out a lot. But
I would have
so
done
does
the
everybody.
trade. I
So
would have
does
done
everybody
the
in the
trade
league today.
for Stroud because Stroud's upside. Ellie, if Ellie wins 3 MVPs, I mean, I don't know if the Reds are ever going to win a World Series. Stroud has a chance to do something, to be really good. The problem is he's in the wrong conference, right? He's in the conference with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. It's
True.
just really tough.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
know
let
he's
me
good.
ask you this: other than Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, how much have cards gone up of the other guys who won the Super Bowl in the last 20 years?
None.
Well,
I don't
None.
know of any of them.
They don't go up. Nobody
It's
cares.
all
Montana,
the quarterback.
Joe
10
Montana
years
was-
later, nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
How about Jim
Joe
Plunkett?
Montana before Tom Brady was king, and his cards.
Nobody cares. Try to give a Tom, his rookie card. That's about it. Try to sell his other cards.
There's not one of ones. That's why. But with all the
Yeah,
one
I'm
of
just
ones,
all these guys. They just plummet, out of sight, out of mind, kind of thing.
we've been doing this a long
I
time.
mean,
so we
Eli
haven't-
Manning won a couple Super Bowls. He was hot. You probably
He was
can't
great.
give his cards away now.
He was great in those Super Bowls too. And is he a Hall of Famer?
Well,
Yeah, he won 2 Super Bowls.
He
right?
was the Achilles heel of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
he's a kryptonite.
I mean, I never saw a guy throw the ball on the money within, a half an inch every time.
It's
in-
just
in
his
those
last
clutch
5
games.
seasons.
Mhm.
The Giants were like the worst team I ever saw.
Mhm.
You want to talk about falling off the face of the earth.
So is he a Hall
He
of
was
Famer?
a top
Yes, right?
quarterback for many years, and those last 5 seasons, I used to joke around. I said because the Steelers were playing really bad at that time, and I was like, with my Giant friends, Giant fan friends, I'd be like, thank God for the Giants, otherwise the Steelers would be the laughing stock.
Is
I'd
CJ
say-
Stroud as good as Eli Manning?
I don't know.
Well,
Eli
it's too
was-
early to tell.
Well, this is
That's
the whole
exactly. It's too early
prospecting.
to tell.
I'll tell you one thing though. The son of Archie Manning, he has a chance to be the best of all of them because he could run, and Peyton nor Eli couldn't run, and he has a cannon.
Archie Griffin can run too.
Yeah, but my son.
Yeah, but Archie Griffin used to have to run for his life.
Oh, was he a quarterback or I forget. No, he was a running back.
He was
No,
a
I
quarterback.
forgot.
He played for the Aints. Remember, they used to wear the fans used to wear the paper bags over their head because they were so embarrassed.
They're bringing those back.
Yeah, so he would run for his life back there.
I mean, what is in the card world? Who is the running quarterback whose cards are worth the most right now?
running quarterback.
Yeah, in the history of the NFL, what running quarterback's card? You said Archie Manning's son can run. Well, what are the running quarterbacks? The great running quarterbacks. Who's the greatest one? What are
The first one was Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah, Fran Tarkenton's probably
They're
up
not
there.
worth shit. And then there was Joe Cap. You guys don't remember him. I remember.
Yeah,
him.
Joe Cap.
He was a.
Oh, how about Bobby Douglas was truly the first real running quarterback. Like Fran Tarkenton scrambled and he ran for his life because he didn't have a line. But Bobby Douglas was the first guy that really was a running quarterback, if you remember him.
Right now, though, the guys
It's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson. I mean,
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. I
Michael
mean,
Vick. We got Michael Vick.
and Michael Vick.
but Michael Vick's cards don't sell for anything.
Exactly. Did Joe Cap's cards sell? Do Michael Vick's cards sell? Do Robert Griffin's cards sell?
Well, there's only one running quarterback that ever won a Super Bowl.
Well,
Let's think.
Steve Young. He's
Yes,
the only
right.
running quarterback to ever win a Super
I
Bowl.
was going to say Steve Young.
His cards are worth good money.
Well, Mahomes is
Mahomes.
kind of a running quarterback. I mean, that guy runs out of trouble.
Oh, Mahomes can run. He's a pocket passer. though.
Mahomes is like Steve Young.
Steve Young ran more than Mahomes, I think.
Yeah,
A lot more.
When I think about like what Steve Young could have done if he had gone into the NFL and he didn't have the injuries he'd had and concussions, I mean that guy's like Mahomes.
And then played
Oh,
behind.
he
Montana
was a
when he
great
got to the
quarterback.
NFL.
Great quarterback.
Yeah,
Josh Allen runs a lot too.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is if I'm investing in cards and I'm looking at who am I going to invest in, I am sure as shit not investing in a running quarterback.
Well, I will tell you this.
No
the
way.
only football players you should invest in are young quarterbacks and sell them the second you can,
Right.
because before you blink, they're not worth anything anymore.
Right.
And even if they had a Hall of Fame career, they're not worth anything anymore.
How long can that last? Is that something that we're gonna be living with for 10 years?
That's why it's so absurd
It's
to buy
always
these.
gonna last? Yeah.
You know, even Tom Brady, hasn't he come way down?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tom Brady.
I'll tell you what, though, Jaden Daniels, that guy is.
Oh, he
everyone's
looks
looking-
fantastic, dude.
He does.
He looks
He really does.
fantastic.
That guy, everyone's hot for him. Like they
Every
were
play
telling-
is a juke too. I mean, even his handoffs are scary. He's going the other way. I mean, the defense.
We're gonna
is in
we're gonna
trouble
see
with
this
him.
week how good he is against a blitzing Steelers defense, baby.
I like the Iron Curtain.
Let's see how he does against
Mahomes is
TJ
at-
Watt.
Oh god.
Yeah, he's going. I love the Steelers too.
I'll tell you what, the Steelers, you know, good or bad, whatever you think of them, throughout history, they have eaten rookie quarterbacks for breakfast,
They have
even the good ones.
Now, Stukes mentions Jordan Love. $1.
Jordan Love's looking good. I
Yes.
wasn't sold on him early, but he's been looking
looked
good the
good
last
when
2
he
Didn't
years.
look good last week.
When he came good from when he came.
I
in
didn't
for
watch a game
Rodgers.
last week.
What did he do last week? I know he got hurt, right? He did nothing.
No, they lost.
They lost one.
But I mean, like it's like before the season began, right? I'm at the I saw you there, Mike, at the Anaheim show.
Yeah.
And so it's what is it? VIP nights Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I am buying Jordan Loves. Got to buy them, put out in my cases. They're selling. And then what happens? Who did they on was it third? This was Thursday, right? Thursday night, they play the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, opening game of the season. And I had sold the three of the 4 Jordan Loves I had purchased. And then we go to this restaurant and we have some beers and Mexican food and we watch the game and Jordan Love gets injured by the Eagles. It looks like he might have actually torn his ACL. It's at the end of the game, and like that full weight on him, and he's on one leg, his leg kind of buckles, and you're like, ooh, that looks bad. The next day, I'm sitting there at the show on Friday, and I got all these people coming up, like, you buying Jordan Love? You buying all young guys? You buying Love? You buying Love? I was, no, you want to buy this one?
Should have bought him all. Stukes, I mean,
Like it's just, and then of course, you know, then it goes on, and I had a Jordan Love Donruss Hollow and a 10, whatever, Raider rookie, blah blah blah. And so the card's like a $200 card. I'll be happy to get like $175 out of it. And then eventually on the week before he comes back, I have it on eBay for like $225. Somebody buys it. And they're just buying them. And I look at the last one sold for like $275. And I'm like, oh, did I sell it too low? Jordan Love's coming back. I mean,
Right.
it's really these football, it's like the stock market. This
It
is
really
not
is.
It is, and they don't have
I
long-term
can't believe
value.
you do that. I can't believe
Let me
play that
ask you-
stuff.
Mike, hold on. Let me ask you guys this question. What do these guys all have in common? Marshall Falk, LaDainian Tomlinson, Steven Jackson, Eddie George, Priest Holmes, Edgerrin James.
They were all badass.
they're awesome.
I mean, and they caught
Great running
balls
back.
too. I mean, they were
their
They're-
cards
two-way
on
players and they
purpose.
were studs.
They're
They
some
scored
of
a
the
lot
greatest
of-
running backs that ever lived, and you can't give their cards away.
There you go. Well,
Did you
Nobody's
see
buying
Saquon this
nobody-
weekend with that
Yeah, man.
hurdle behind the
But
back?
he hurdled backwards.
Oh my gosh, that was the
Yeah, that was
greatest one I've
insane.
ever seen. My goodness, that was a great play.
well, it's a funny hobby. I don't understand it. It's funny because James and George, you guys both sell them. You buy and sell them. So you guys, man, I really admire you being able to do that. Literally, I can't remember all the damn names and everything of it. I think it's just absurd. But that's,
You know what's
I'm-
funny is some of
whatever.
the, like when it comes to football and some of these other cards, even some baseball, when you get a modern numbered card like 30 years after they played, it'll sell for more than their playing days cards. That's a big shift in the market.
That's crazy. Well, I saw those nice
Big
Babe
shift
Ruth
in the hobby.
Kaboomies. They got a nice Ruth Kaboomy, right, for about $300-400. I should buy
Yeah,
one.
this is
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, some of these old players, refractors, and numbered cards are selling for a lot of money.
Mhm.
I was telling
Yeah.
James this.
We picked up Kobe Bryant's refractor Topps Finest rookie and Air Parallel, the insert. My goodness, those cards are around 3,500, $4,000. Like it was
Right.
obscene what those cards are going for.
At least
And
Kobe
picked
was
those
good.
up proudly. Like we couldn't wait to extract the deal on those cards. It's
Wow.
gold.
What is it about? So it's always fascinated me when people die young, they are elevated. You know, you couldn't give Kobe Bryant cards away until he passed.
Which is hard to
And then they
believe. He
just
was
went
so
through the
good.
roof.
His autograph too is right there with
But
Jordan.
it's like that throughout history. I mean, like, you know, they put you on a pedestal if you die young.
You
Yeah.
know,
Why isn't Thurman Munson on that freaking ballot that we were looking at? By the
yeah.
way, it just occurred to me.
Good question.
The guy who should, the number one guy above, I'm sorry,
I
above all
meant
those
to
guys.
ask. I meant to.
Well, you
mention that too when
remember
we
back
talked about
then,
this.
after he
Nice.
passed, everybody was buying his cards up too. Same thing.
Really?
Thurman Munson, yeah. Everybody wanted him.
Oh, I just wanted him because he was good.
Yeah, well,
And
we did
he
too.
was
But
a captain.
after he passed, he became like an extra special card.
Can you please explain to me why he's not on that ballot and why he's not
Yeah,
in the
I
Hall
mean,
of Fame?
Why
Is he
he
ever on the
should've-
ballot?
He should have been in the Hall of Fame the next year, like Clemente.
Yeah.
This is the same era that he played. I mean, if you've got Parker and Garvey and Dick Allen and Tommy John on the ballot,
And you don't
why
have Thurman
in Louis
Munson.
Tiant? Why is Ken Boyer is like the only one who's like a real '60s guy,
Right.
and you got the two Negro League guys. I understand that, but like, where's Thurman Munson? Like, this is like Garvey, Parker, and Munson should be going in.
Yeah.
And together, and maybe Dick Allen. I don't know. Maybe Ken Boyer. I don't know. And
Don't they have a limit? Don't they have a limit? On
I don't
that?
know.
A lot
do.
of the old timers, you know, think Ken Boyer should be in. I never got to watch him play, but he had a pretty short career though.
Well, if he
And I don't think he ran I think he had a short number of really good years.
his wins above
Munson?
replacement is at least
No, Kenny
No.
Boyer.
Oh, Kenny Boyer. He was like at least 7-time All-Star minimum.
Well, he was like
Yeah.
one of the. It was him or Santo who was a third baseman in the All Star
Yeah.
game in that era.
Yeah.
And unlike Santo,
But
he
for
won
how long?
MVP. You know,
You said 7 in a row?
I think so, at least. And then he had, I know he was good for at least 10 years. He was pretty well respected.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm
his-
saying. The old timers, I think, would tell you to. Well, not all of them. Baseball fans can't agree on
I
anything.
don't really remember seeing him play, to be honest. I know
no,
he
the,
was with the
dudes
Cardinals
on this
for that.
ballot, like, what
He was
helps.
before your time, Mike.
Kind of.
You know,
Not a lot of guys are before my time.
what really helps Garvey and Parker and John is that the guys on this committee are like Rod Carew, I believe Eckersley, I believe Brett. These are guys who played against those guys. Parker.
Well, I've heard Rod Carew say that Dave Parker, it's a crime he's not in.
Yeah. And we want to see him go in before he passes away, too.
I've
Come
also
on.
heard other Major League ball players say that too. Well, Rod Carew made a post, I think it was on Facebook,
Mhm.
and saying that Dave Parker should be in.
do
Yeah.
you think Pete Rose will get in now that he's passed away?
I think he will eventually get in, but I don't think it'll be soon.
Really?
But
I
I've been
think-
saying for a long time he'll
Mhm.
never get in until he passes away.
Once
They won't give
Giamatti
they won't
died
give
a
him the
week later, I
satisfaction,
think
even if
that
they do decide to put him in.
They just held a grudge against him, and then he really never admitted to betting on his own team. Look, Jason just put this down. 11-time All-Star. I thought it was 7 for Boyer.
11-time All-Star. Okay.
Joe Jackson should go in first before Rose.
I didn't realize he was so 11-time. So from like a rookie, his rookie season was 55.
They did have 2 All-Star games a year, though, back.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So he played 6. He went to basically
I
6.
guess, or he could have had. He had what?
No, that's why
12
Hank
years?
Aaron has 24 All-Stars. If you look him up,
Right.
because you're right. They played 2 back then.
And Boyer won an MVP, I believe, in like 63 or something like that.
Is that right? I'm sorry, I don't remember. And I remember those baseball cards that had all the cards. We used to love those cards. Right? Weren't those 75 the ones with all the MVPs.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
That's another reason I got.
Well,
I
the
was into
Kmart
old
cards too, from what was that, 82?
Yeah,
The Kmart cards?
yeah, yeah. They had the same card. It was almost the same card, except for it said Kmart on the top.
Right. And then they
Which-
had to make one for Maury Will. So a lot of people collect that because he didn't
Do
have
they?
a card in 62. They made him a
Right.
1962 card on there.
But yet you have that 63 Fleer, which is nice.
I picked
Yeah.
up a 62 post to commemorate that.
I have the Post, I have the Fleer, and I have the Bell brand.
Yeah, I used to love him. He was.
And I
he was
think
great to
I,
Bell brand is
I think
great.
I'm missing one. I think there's another one. I'm drawing a blank.
But the Bell brand's a nice one. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Those are nice.
It's
sets.
beautiful because he's fielding. I love that guy. I'm not sure if that's his rookie though.
And it's
Yeah.
a little pricey too.
Trying to think.
It's
what
a
he-
beautiful card.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always liked Maury. Saw him play a lot of times, but they would get so excited they would throw over there 20 times. I mean, it was like we talk about how many bases he would steal right
Should
now.
he be in the
Or
Hall of
Henderson?
Fame as a speed demon?
That's another guy. Yeah, I mean,
This
He
is why
was
I
the
dislike
Dodgers
the Hall of
MVP.
Fame.
I mean-
There were so many great guys who had some key thing in baseball, and I don't know. You know, it's like Bert Campaneris. What a great base stealer he was. He led the league 6 times in a row.
yeah, he was one of the best players back when we were kids.
He
We
was a
always liked
great
him.
player. You can't give his cards away.
I
See,
used to-
Stoops knows all these. Look at
I
this,
used to
5
think
gold
Billy
gloves.
Butler was great at leadoff. Like he was a master leadoff player. He knew how
Who?
to get a rally started.
Who?
Butler for the
Oh.
Dodgers.
Brett
Oh,
Butler.
I liked
Brett
Butler.
Butler.
He was great. I
Yeah, Brett Butler. He was a pretty good center fielder too.
Yeah, he
Well,
was.
you know what I noticed when I went to the Hall of Fame? I've only been there once. What I noticed was that you can be in the Hall of Fame without being in the Hall of Fame, right? Like Pete
Right.
Rose, there was a whole thing about Pete Rose when I was there about the big. There's a whole article, like a big display about the big red machine. There was also another display about his Cobb and him in the pursuit of the hit record. So like, even though he wasn't like in the hall itself of legends, he was in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Roger
Not
Maris
anybody.
is too.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to just put the guy in the Hall of Legends. I'm not talking about Pete Rose or whatever. I'm saying like, somebody like Harold Baines or Scott Rowland. They're good players. They're really good, but they're not Willie Mays and they're not Hank Aaron. They're not
Well,
Sandy
not too many.
Koufax. And it's just like, I mean, it's so tough to like, where do you draw the line now that we're kind of on the back end of this? And
Why'd
Well,
somebody
now that
start a Hall of
there's no
Fame anyway?
pitchers now. There's no pitchers now anyway that make it 5 innings. These guys, at least they pitch 7, 8, 9 innings. I mean, a lot of talk about Johan Santana. Remember how good he was for 4 or 5 years?
yeah.
He won. I think he won at least 2 triple crowns in pitching. And they say that his short window of his greatness was similar to Koufax. So I don't think he
Not
won the
even close.
championships. No, it wasn't. I mean, I don't think
don't
so.
think
That's the argument.
Yeah, I mean, like,
obviously-
The only guy that was close to that 5-year stretch of Koufax was Pedro Martinez.
yeah.
Yeah, Pedro's right there too. My thing is like nowadays, what are you going to be able to use a criteria with hitters, for example, where their averages really don't stack up to the normal Hall of Famers that we recognize as like
Offensive strikeouts, 200 plus every year.
Yeah, it's just about, I guess, home runs now. They don't
odd base
like
percentage.
home runs.
nobody cares about defense, and they don't care about batting average.
Well, the Yankees should have cared about defense.
Come on, man.
I'm
No,
talking
it's
I'm
so
talking
Fresh
fans.
that wound.
Framed it a different way. The Dodgers cared about defense. It worked out for them.
Oh man, it hurts just as bad, George. Come on, man.
Sorry, man.
You guys are- yeah.
You look
So
at
the guys of the future, are we going to put 240 hitters in the Hall of Fame?
That's what it looks like. It's gonna be like. I mean, how many players right now playing for the last 5 years that you could say you could see being a Hall of Famer? Like
A rise.
I
He's the only
mean,
one with the high lifetime batting average, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
Bryce Harper, lifetime, his average is probably going to be around 260, maybe.
Really
Yep.
that low?
Oh yeah, that low.
Wow.
Because he had a couple off years, like he hit like 230, 240.
Right.
And then he had the 300 here and there, which was the MVP seasons. But his career stats might be like 260, 250.
70. Yeah. If you look at Bryce Harper, it's like you'd say, oh, he's one of the best young players. But when you look at his stats, it's not, I mean, he's good, but dude, I'd rather have Jim Rice. Like, he's
Yeah.
not that. Jim Rice is a more feared hitter. Example, Dave
He misses
Park.
a lot of time, Harper, another guy. He
True.
plays balls to the walls too, but now they have him at first.
Yeah.
And
You're playing
Well,
first
the
base.
thing about Harper, when he's hot, he's hot.
Yeah.
But then he goes on these long lulls. But when he
So
like,
true.
if he get that one playoff series,
21.
he was hot, you know, and he's fun to watch. He's exciting, but
He is.
he's very streaky.
Right. And then this right here, Faux 1971 says his average is 281, but I'm talking about projecting his career towards the end when he's retiring. It'll probably be 260 counting for the decline that everyone suffers. In the end, you're going to have a 260 hitter that you're going to say is the Hall of Famer of this era. And that's going to be our bar, you know.
What if he has a 400 on base percentage though? I think he's got a decent ob, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a
360,
389 on base percentage. I'm looking.
They're going to do away with all the other stats other than WAR and OPS.
WRC is one that you hear on MLB. They're always looking at WRC. And then
Did they invent a new one?
probably every day they're inventing new ones. But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Like we said at the very beginning of this broadcast, baseball's gotten too analytical. My God, you need to be like, is baseball run by rocket scientists and number crunchers?
Well, you know,
accountants.
I definitely hate the game by the numbers, and that's where we got all these shifts, and the guys not hitting, you know, away from the shift. And now they changed the rules now for the players, so they can hit. You know, the guys can't do those crazy shifts anymore.
And one thing that annoys me is Pete Rose was on the MLB network, and they asked him, "Oh, why didn't you ever go through long periods of slumps?" And he showed how he simplified his at bats. When people were getting him with the curve, he moved up or moved back. When they were pumping him in, or he went high on the bat. You don't ever see anyone choking up ever nowadays.
That bugs the shit out of me because they swing from the heels most.
No, you see a few guys choking up. One of them's name is Freddie Freeman. Like the guys
crazy?
who are really good hitter.
Yeah.
Like the guys who hit and care about hitting. Joey Votto used to choke up. Like I was telling my son before the World Series, I said the two best hitters in this World Series are Juan Soto and Freddie Freeman. And he's like, there's no way Aaron Judge is the best. Look at his numbers. Look at Judge. I'm like, no. These guys, Soto, these guys are professional hitters.
They really are. They don't swing at
all. So here's something interesting, right? Because you always think of guys who choke up were Felix Milan and you know those kinds of hitters. The two home run champions of the world in Japan and in MLB both choked up substantially on the bat. Barry Bonds and Sada Haruo.
Hank Aaron didn't choke up.
You can choke up on the bat and hit home runs.
Hank Aaron didn't choke up, but I mean Bonds did. You're right.
Yeah, Bonds choked up a good bit because he wanted to control that bat.
They're using kind of light bats, aren't they? For like a lot of them are 32 ounces. These bats, they're not hitting.
Are they really? That's what I used in Little League for God's sake.
I know they're not swinging 35 ounces, and if you look at them too, they're like really, you know, they're small. Like it almost doesn't even look like.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn used a 32-inch bat.
Did he? Yeah. So yeah. I mean, they're using.
That's what I always used. I like the control. The heavier bats, tough to control.
Bonds choked up on the syringe.
That's cold-blooded, man.
Yeah.
Somebody always has to make a comment anytime you bring Bonds' name up.
I mean, I liked him. I mean, he was obviously the best hitter I've ever saw. And I remember the little 8-year-old kids out there. We would watch him out in left field warming up, and he would stare down these kids, like they would be
Dude.
booing him. And he was the meanest guy, but then he would laugh. So he really wasn't mean with the fans. I mean, I think he kind of got a bad rap, all in all. But when these kids were booing him, I remember telling these kids, I go, son, I mean, I don't know whose son he was, but his dad was there. And here's his, I go, I hate to break it to you, but I was your age coming out here. That's going to be the best hitter you're ever going to see in your life. I know he's on the other team, but why don't you learn how to enjoy what you're watching out there? You're going to watch it. That's the best hitter you're ever going to see. And I mean, I never saw a guy in the zone like that guy was for
I
straight
gotta
years.
give it to Bonds.
He was insane.
Yeah, I got to give it to Bonds, and I got to give it to Manny Ramirez. As a Yankees fan, Cleveland, he destroyed the Yankees, and with Boston, he destroyed the Yankees. I hated to see him come up to bat because it wasn't always a home run, but it'd be double. He just hit it.
Manny Ramirez was so
Boy,
good.
when I would see him with the Dodgers in the 90s, he was their main guy that they got, in their last couple of years and stuff. That was all the Dodgers had. But man, that guy, he was in the zone too. A Bonds, like, of course, he was on steroids too.
Yeah, he was. What do they have in common? They were awesome.
Yeah.
They're both on the juice. But man, Manny Ramirez is like RBI wise, he was like the closest thing in my lifetime to Lou Gehrig. Like he just knocked in so many runs. 140, 130, 165 one year. Like it's insane when you look at his numbers. He just knocked in a bunch of guys all the time. I know you already mentioned this.
Hitting in the clutch. I mean, that's what he did.
Yeah, but I mean, when I think about the guys, like who is like the most scary dude in sports, it's like in my lifetime, Mike Tyson and Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, like you're walking dudes in. The Diamondbacks are walking runs in. They're up by 2, and they're walking a run in because they don't want to put Bonds on first.
Well, if you threw anything
I agree
over
with
the
you,
plate,
George.
He would swing. He would hit homers. He didn't hit doubles. He didn't hit. They were homers. No singles. No missed balls.
It was all the time.
All
the time.
I would put LT.
Like, you
on
never
that
saw
list
him
too.
go on multiple game, where he was terrible.
Who else, James?
LT from the Giants, I would put on that list. Everyone feared him on the field.
Dude, he bent Joe Theismann's leg in a Z.
Oh, Lawrence Taylor.
I watched that game live. That was horrifying.
Me too.
Nobody wants to watch it twice.
He took that honeymooners line, bench into a pretzel. He took that literally.
That's the most gruesome injury. How about other than Darryl Stingley?
Wait, there was an NBA player who did something similar a few years ago. That was hard to watch too.
Yeah. Jordan, we have to say also, there was no trying to control Jordan.
Well, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and he was just a badass on defense too. I mean, and that was back in the day when these guys played football. I mean, he had to go. He went against like Detroit and teams like that. They beat the shit out of him, and he didn't.
The Pistons beat the shit out of everybody.
I know, but I mean, that was when the
Lanier.
Now they don't. Now they don't even touch the guy. They, it's like they.
I know.
Come on,
there's no defense. They want scoring.
They got 5 steps is not traveling anymore. They got 3-point shooting. It's a bore.
There was a game that I saw like 2 days ago. It was a 3-on-1 fast break. 2 people went down the lane and one went to the 3-point line. The guy underneath the hoop, the defender, didn't know who to guard. But as 2 people were coming at him, they kicked it out for the 3 he missed.
Yeah.
Only in today's
that's all they care about. It's threes. Threes.
He mentions Chocolate Thunder. Wasn't that Daryl Dawkins?
Daryl Dawkins. He was the first
He
guy
used
to break the backboard.
Backboards.
He was the first guy to shatter the backboard.
And he used to try to do it.
Yeah.
Chocolate Thunder.
Dude.
He started. He was a rookie. He was 18, wasn't he, when he played? When he started?
Probably. But I remember when Shaq
drafted
broke
out
the
of high
backboard, and I'd be like, dude, there was a guy that did it way before him.
Chocolate Thunder's nickname was Duncanstein, wasn't it?
Dr. Duncanstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So What's funny is there was this old timer when I got stranded at the National, and you had to come get me, James.
Yeah.
And there was this old timer, and he was sitting there. He was the only one sitting there at this tire store, and he was at the. So I had Adidas sweatpants, and I had like Converse high tops. So I get out of the car to go in there. He's like, "What you know about those Converse high tops?" And we got into this discussion because he brought up Daryl Dawkins to me, and I said Chocolate Thunder, and he's like, how do you know these guys? You know, everybody was bringing up from the 70s, but it was a fun conversation.
You know what's funny? You call out those Converse.
Yeah.
I was watching what was the Dragon, the one with Shogun or Shonuff, and he was like, "Kiss my Converse." You remember that movie?
Chuck Taylor's, that's what they needed.
Yeah, the Chuck
Taylor.
And Dr. Duncan C was Daryl Griffith, Ron Perry says. So
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah, and Moses Malone was 18. But how old was Daryl Dawkins? He was young too.
Moses Malone, I loved him.
It was
Yeah,
so
he was
good.
great.
The Last Dragon, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved the Shonuff. Who's the baddest on the planet? him and Ming the Merciless were like the two greatest like evil guys.
Well, we could talk about the good old days forever, man. Those were the great times of the 70s.
Like Flash, Savior of the Universe.
All right, so we've been on for 2.5 hours.
Oh shit!
I think we need to put a bow ribbon on this one.
Yes,
we do.
Time to wrap it up.
Yeah, we got to thank everyone for watching and hit that thumbs up.
Wait, we had people watching?
Growing. Yeah, we got 21 people strong.
That's a lot for your channel.
We usually have 100, but they found out Mike Petty was on.
Exactly. As soon as they saw you, they clicked off.
They go, I can't
one go up, one go down.
I can't take that fucking blowhard. 5 minutes. Like I said, I'm good in short intervals. You get me on for 2 hours, and like you can't stand me. Can't stanza.
Mike, we got to thank you for hopping on, man.
Oh, guys, I can't thank you enough for including me in this great group. You know, I love you guys.
Yeah,
we love you too. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that fire.
Peace, you guys.
Oh, glad I could. Thanks, guys. Take care.
So join us next week. We'll be back on next week for another live. Later, guys.
Peace, love.